We're recording it on a slice of American cheese, actually.
You guys recording this?
Welcome back to the Spaghetti and Meat Boys podcast. The podcast that puts a pep in your step and puts you in your step sibling. I'm your host. Please stop hard cutting to the guy's face. I'm insecure about my sexuality. With me, as always, are the boys. In the top right is Houston, better known as Asa Akira, is better than Ghost in the Shell. And on the bottom, of course, as always, our good friend Ian, better known as Why Pay for Lube when I can just spit in her butt. How are you guys doing today?
Olive oil was the response to that.
Olive oil. Vegetable oil. Come on.
You mean coconut oil?
You're using
Works either
olive
way, dude.
oil? I mean...
That's what the Greeks did, man. I mean, they didn't put that shit on food. That shit's nasty.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to need to see proof.
What do you mean? It's great for cooking.
You subscribe to my OnlyFans and you can see the olive oil.
I mean, okay, I'm going to be honest. I've definitely
Warm
used...
butter actually is the best lube. Warm butter. Margarine.
Are
if you've got...
you being serious now?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay, I've definitely used...
Homie.
No, I've definitely used vegetable oil before. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, it was, we just didn't
You
have
ever
enough...
used tofu?
No. For sex? For anal
soy
sex?
sauce? Soy sauce, maybe? Anyone? Ketchup?
Chopsticks?
Can't you taste soy sauce with your balls?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay. So there's this. No.
Are they like? Is it like squid? Like when you pour it on there, they start to move around and stuff.
No. So you have like they're just the type of nerves that it is with certain very specific types of like, I guess salted or umami like flavors.
Yeah.
You can dunk your balls in soy sauce pretty much and taste it in your mouth. Like you'll get. I looked this shit. I remember it was a trend for a while. Somebody fucking put that shit on the internet.
Yeah, next time we're at
Soy
your
sauce
place, I
and
know what we're doing,
balls.
man. Yes.
Nice. Yes, that's definitely what we're doing.
So this is the sixth matchup of the first round of our 30 film anime bracket, which is downloadable if anyone wants to follow along. Obviously, the first 5 matchups pretty solid all the way through. We're gonna spoil those throughout this one, or maybe incidentally. I don't know. I haven't planned on it, but the 2 movies that we watched today we have the 2004 Katsuhiro Otomo film. He's more well known for Akira, which we'll have later in our bracket. But his 2004 film Steamboy. And then the other one is the 2013 farewell masterpiece from acclaimed director Hayao Miyazaki, The Wind Rises.
More like fart.
Dude, I told you. Dude.
You told him what? That I was gonna suck The Wind Rises' dick?
Yeah, more specifically, I was like, Houston's about to gaslight Steamboy just so the wind rises, just sweeps, dude.
Did I say anything bad about Steamboy? I just said it was the 2004 film from director who was known for his like.
No, it was the connotation with the wind rises, the masterpiece.
No, it was. So here's the thing, though. It was marketed as the farewell masterpiece. Like that was the tagline for its marketing. So even if you hadn't seen
the English Patient, dude.
it was like. It was not a farewell masterpiece for Hayao Miyazaki. And I'm going to use that terminology for later on, not for this movie, but for another movie we're going to watch down the road that was released at the same time alongside The Wind Rises, because it was 2 different directors saying farewell to making movies. 2 Ghibli directors. So yeah, I'm sorry. That probably came off a little biased.
You're allowed to be biased. That's the whole.
I know.
That's the whole show.
Yes, I know, Ian. Thank you. I appreciate that. But it's
Just in case you didn't know.
we just have to placate Jarrett. We just have to let him believe that he's running the show
It's a good
here.
vocabulary word.
It's all good. I'll
I might have
lag
used it
off
wrong. I don't really know.
before
No, you did. Use.
before it actually matters. So
That actually is true. But yes, so I think we're going to start with acclaimed director Katsuhiro Otomo, known for, the masterpiece that brought anime to the West as a serious art form with Akira. We're going to start with his 2004 magnum opus-ish. I'm just trying to throw out a bunch of fucking buzzwords so you can stop clowning me for, oh, God. Anyway, we're going to start with Steamboy. Would anyone that's not me like to do the plot synopsis? Because I'm losing it.
Jarrett,
Ian?
I can do it, or you can do it.
Yeah, go for it. Go for
Okay.
All right, Ian.
Steamboy is an animated picture from 2004 from Japan that follows the youth of a young boy who aspires to be an engineer. I believe so. It takes place in Britain. I believe he grows up in Manchester and he begins his life sort of working in a factory. His father and grandfather are living in America, far, far away. We see flashes of them, but they're engineers as well. And they're or scientists, I guess you could say, and they're designing some of the highest tech stuff in the world. And that's what he aims to do, and he sort of has his own workshop. The plot sort of moves along the line of the father and grandfather are sort of forced into trouble, you could say, and he is drawn into the mix with the battle between science and military and the responsibilities of a scientist, I suppose, as he has to navigate his way through a world that seemed more confusing to him than it seemed at first. And there's giant robots and giant explosions, and it escalates to
They're not robots.
the point of there's some robots. I mean, they're not
they're
like autonomous.
They're all
yeah.
man. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like
you're right.
cyborgs, if anything.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I think
that kind of counts. That kind of counts. Like the big hands. The big hands, that's robot. I mean, come on, that's pretty
Big
robot.
Weld, the inventor robot.
But anyway, it escalates to a point of fantastical steampunk mechanical engineering that is fantastical, and all the rest, and everything blows up and everyone dies at the end. Anything I missed there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Trying to
Like
remember.
It's subtitle.
The subtitle?
Yeah. Steampunk 1866. The prequel to Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, these downloads that you totally legally gave to us, Houston, they don't have these subtitles. It's just Steamboy.
Oh, okay. Well,
I got like
it is
50 subtitles with mine.
Well, not that.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
you mean sub?
Yes,
literally
the
subtitle.
movie's subtitle. But no, if you went to the subtitle files on VLC, you would see that there's like Hungarian, fucking like all this shit. It's because Steamboy is not, I would say, the most popular movie in the world. So there were limited choices for like quality downloads, and so that was the only one that was in HD on the site that I was using. So I wasn't gonna get no 720p bullshit, bro. What are we, poor?
The
Yes,
English
but-
cast looked like it was
Yes.
pretty star-studded for like it must
It
have been
was.
coming off the heat of like
Yeah.
Spirited Away and stuff. They were looking for a
Yes.
double dip.
Also, it's a pretty established director. I did end up switching from the sub to the dub because I thought it would make more sense in my mind because I was watching things happen in 1800s England, like 19th century England. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to switch to the English people
Makes sense.
because right now I can't. And I think that helped a little bit in hearing accents a little bit better to understand like who's poor and uneducated and who's, I mean,
Yeah.
visually you could kind of understand,
Yeah.
but especially it really helped more in like the first few before he ends up like over in, I guess, over in London. The whole time
Yeah.
he's in Manchester. Like
Yeah.
it helps distinguish some things.
Yeah,
but
Americans
other than
versus
that-
British people and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But
And
anyway.
I'm sure like the British slang came off a little bit better as well. Like he says
Yes.
cripes at some point.
Yes. It did.
One of them said crikey.
Did he say crikey?
Yeah,
It says
his
golly
name
a lot.
It was really funny.
Crikey.
Yeah.
That's a big crock.
crikey, lads.
All right, but yeah. So that was a
But
good
yeah.
synopsis, Ian. I guess we
Thank
can
you.
just
I
like
floundered a
normal.
little.
We can just like normal
Just
kid.
a goal for it.
Just a goal for it. Square goal, like. You know, like that's actually square go is actually like a Scottish phrase.
Yeah. It's the company that made Final Fantasy.
Lord, grant me the serenity to not punch this motherfucker.
I'll rip your
fucking
fucking
arms
arms off.
Slash you across the face with it like a little bitch. Cheers, life. Wait.
Oh man, that
Dude,
video will never get
Gary's mod train spotting.
old.
Yeah, but anyway, I guess we can go with initial reactions to the film because that's how we usually do this. Is we'll go film by film. So,
Yeah.
who wants to kick us off here?
Me?
I mean, are you sure? Because that sounded a little. No, I'm just... Yeah, go ahead.
I heard silence. I thought
Because I asked a
this-
question.
I wanted to go first, dude.
Ah,
I asked
Well,
a
it's too
question.
late now,
Nobody
I'm sorry.
answered. That's why I was silent. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ian.
I started off Steamboy. So I got a message from my good friend Houston, sort of right like about a couple minutes into Steamboy.
The day before the podcast.
Watching
day
it the
before.
same. But hey, me and Ian were watching it at the exact same time because I was a few minutes into the movie when I
What?
sent this message. I was about 20 minutes in.
when you
when I
sent
sent
that?
Yeah.
Oh, that seemed like a pretty declarative sort of statement. I thought maybe you had already seen it. Oh,
I'm
okay, well
just
that makes
saying-
sense why you wanted to. Why you? Okay, thought
If
about
that
it.
would have gone through, I would have been screwed. I would have had no time.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Well, first,
No,
let
it's good
Ian-
that we didn't because I think these line up very well thematically.
We're talking
do.
about things that Ian has not explained what the message had said.
Yes, I didn't know if you wanted me to explain it.
Yes, go ahead and explain what the message has
Okay.
said because we're being like, yeah, if that would have happened, but you haven't even told the audience
No,
what
yeah.
was. Okay.
So I was on crunch time. I was sort of thinking about watching both movies last night, but I sort of got lazy and I was like, I'll just watch one. And so I started Steamboy, and then like as I'm sort of sat down watching it, I get a little text on Snapchat from in our little group chat from Houston that says, is it still saved, do you think?
Probably not.
Probably.
Nah.
That was way after
not.
A.
Yeah.
Well, no, I would have
That's
sent it
true.
last night at around. Oh no, I sent it a little earlier than I started the
yeah,
movie
so
pretty
we
early.
just got like
yeah.
the end of that conversation.
Yeah.
But basically, it went something along the lines of like, "Have y'all watched Steamboy yet?" And then it was like, "Yes, yes. Why? You know, that kind of thing." It's like because this movie is a steaming pile of shit.
That's not what
And-
I said.
at
all.
And if we can, and I wasn't expecting this when I picked it, but I was wondering if it was too late in the game for a little switch up. Maybe we can watch something else.
Yeah.
And so I was sort of going into the movie ready for at least because I was sort of I've never heard of it, so I figured there's a good possibility it's going to be a steaming pile of shit.
Yeah.
That was the sort of reading between the lines that I got. Maybe those weren't the exact
Yeah.
words that you heard.
No, that is not what I said
Is
at
that-
all.
what did
I was
you
like-
actually say?
I was like, damn. Well, I was like, never mind then. I was going to suggest like we switch it out because I just don't know like how well this, fits the bracket.
No. There was definitely a like this is definite. This is
It came off that way. Very
no,
much
I think
came
there
off
was
that
like
way.
a literal.
It might have,
think
no,
there
I did not
was.
say like this is bad. I was like, I just don't even know like what I'm watching right now. That
But,
was probably the harshest
That is
thing.
what you said. But no, it came off. It came off very like this is the worst film I've ever seen.
Okay.
That's how it
Sorry.
came off.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just
Sorry.
saying.
I was
No.
only 20 minutes into the film, so I was trying to like
I'm excited
share
to
my
see
feelings.
How,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how if it changed or not, or
Okay.
how you came around. But when I started was maybe about 20 minutes in, I was feeling sort of in the same kind of like sort of not that keen on it, and I felt it was a little bit lame, and some of the animation was sort of throwing me off a little bit. But as it
Amen.
went, the adventure and the action, although sort of the pacing was sometimes a bit odd, and sort of the way things would just happen and the way characters would react to it and things like that was a bit odd. I was sort of excited by what would happen next. I really loved all of the mechanical visuals that were happening with all the steampunk aspects. I liked all that, and I liked the escalation of technology as it went. It sort of just gave you a little piece, it got bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I liked all the way that was animated and things like that. And I
Yeah,
liked the action a lot. And I think I liked most of the characters a lot. I think all in all, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a good deal as a fun movie. I don't know how much I have to say for its sort of objective quality, but I know that I had fun, and I know that there were parts that I greatly enjoyed. I thought it did an adventure story pretty well.
Okay. So, should I go ahead and just explain what I was thinking since you referenced or Jarrett, do you want to go ahead and go? Because I might say some inflammatory things that will get people a little bothered.
I think we can.
I feel like mine's going to be significantly shorter, so
okay, go
I feel
ahead.
like I should. Sort of the same. Well, actually, I was enjoying it first 20 minutes. I really enjoy adventure movies. Visuals phenomenal. I never at any point was like, "Oh, that looks weird." No, I thought the visuals were like solid 9, maybe 10 out of 10. Visually, amazing movie. Plot, themes, character. It left a lot to be desired. However, because the animation was cool, the action was great, the characters were believable enough, I had a damn good time watching it. Even though, so I can let the sort of very basic, very predictable, very kind of meh plot, I can let it slide because I had a damn good time watching it. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
I agree with you.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I was watching. I was like, I figured that you would have the same opinions you had on Dallos about this movie. Is kind of what I guessed, Jarrett.
I think that's pretty similar.
Not quite as harsh.
I think he kind of does.
Okay.
Well,
yeah,
I think you were harshified by the discussion.
Yes,
I think
I definitely escalated.
No. I don't think it's escalation necessarily, but I think he came into the podcast both times with. I'm just guessing with like similar vibes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying pretty much. Like your initial reactions feel the same. That's what I'm talking about. Like your
in a way.
What you
in a
said,
way,
like what did I like? What did I like? And why? I love adventure movies, and I had a damn good time. Like you used that phrase multiple times.
Okay, yes, that is
so.
the same. I guess my qualms were different though.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
yes,
I'm not saying every
true.
detail, but I'm saying just your initial reaction like seemed to be the same. Okay, well,
If
I
you
guess
want to talk about action and visuals, it's night and day between the two, though.
What you say?
Because that was one of the biggest things that he mentioned about Steamboy, but like Dallas was a little visually and action wise.
So I was watching it with Lydia. We were about 20 minutes in the movie, and I was like, I don't want to finish this fucking movie. Like I was like, I would kill to just not watch. I was like, maybe I'll just turn it off and I'll just
Pretend
agree
you
with
watched it.
whatever anyone says, just the whole time. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna fucking do that. I have to sit through the end of this. I was like, but you can go if you want to, because she was miserable as well. So she was like, just can't you change it? And I was like, it's the night before the podcast. She was like, they probably haven't watched both of the movies, which was correct.
That's true.
Ian hadn't seen either of them yet, and Jarrett had only seen Steamboy at the time, right? Or you had just watched The Wind Rise. I don't remember.
I was in the middle of watching it.
Okay, yeah. Either way, none of us had completed both films at that point, but unfortunately, it was just flipped pretty much. But yeah, so I sent that message, and in my opinion, I was just like, I thought the harshest thing I said was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm watching. Was pretty much it. I can understand how that was taken a different way. Also, there's no other way for you to take it. If I jump in, I'm like, hey, I'm in the middle of one of these movies. Can we throw it out even though we record tomorrow? I could have been praising it the whole time, but you guys still would have rightfully assumed that I didn't like it. So that was in the first 20 minutes. And I sat through the rest of the movie, and I paid attention. I didn't touch my phone, nothing. I was like, all right, I just want to see, where is this movie going? And obviously, I was like, eventually it's going to get to some things I like, because when it started to escalate, I was like, okay, ready for some cool set pieces, some fun action. At the end of the movie, I was regulating my breathing because I was just I couldn't understand what I was feeling. I felt like I was coming off of hard drugs. That was one of the most impressive, god-awful movies I've ever seen. Mainly impressive because it made me feel more than I think any other movie has ever felt. Now, all of the feelings were so negative. But yeah, I was laughing my ass off. I was like trying to be like calm myself down. Like I was about to have a full fucking panic attack. That's how much like this movie just was whack as hell to me.
Wow.
I tried and I tried. I sat there and like I talked about it with Lydia for a while just to try and come up. And every time I was like, you know what, if this was pretty good, I would think about it for a minute, and I'd be like, was it though? So yeah, I think this has got to be, and this is a bold statement, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
I'm not just talking about on this bracket. I'm saying like this was, to me, and I know there's a very, very strong opinion. Now, I am the only person who has not hated a movie yet. Both of you guys have already like shat on a movie, and I have not.
That's true.
I've even
It's your
defended
turn.
ones that I didn't like. Not saying that's honorable, it was just annoying, but this is my time to shit on a movie. And honestly, you guys should be happy that it's happening right now, because I cannot fathom another movie ever being this bad ever again.
Oh my gosh.
So it'll never get worse than it does tonight. So yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
Jarrett,
Oh,
why is this a
yeah.
midlife masterpiece?
Oh, I was telling Houston, I was at work today. I spent 8 hours just writing macros and VBA, and my brain was a bit fried, and I'm feeling like that again because I'm lost. I have no idea how he could say this is one of the worst movies he's ever
Yeah,
seen.
that's sort of.
It's not like a masterpiece, but
No.
I'm just flabbergasted. I don't know.
I actually do want to say something productive, though. The initial reason why I'd picked these two to go up against each other, and I think they worked out really well
think they
together
did,
on
yeah.
the bracket. I
Yes,
know this
yes.
involves the Wind Rises, but I'll just say they were both pretty industrial in a way.
Engineering.
They're both engineering.
Engineering.
Yes, that's the main reason why I picked them. Engineering. They both follow very
Romanticized
kind-hearted, determined, I guess, engineers in a way.
Struggling with the use of science.
Yeah, or science and progress versus, destruction and war.
Yeah.
Was really, really cool that both of these had in common. And I'm glad that Steamboy stuck to that. Like, when I had initially read about it, I was like, oh, it could be the same way, or it could just be like an Astro Boy ripoff. But I was
It
like,
was
no, it was
definitely
it was pretty unique.
It was even more so that way, I think,
Yeah.
than the Wind Rises.
We'll get to that. We'll get to
there,
that.
we'll
I have
get there, we'll get there.
plenty to say about the Wind Rises, but I will say, yeah. But yeah, that's why I picked the two of them. So I guess that can just pull us out of that Jarrett being really bewildered that I hated this movie.
Jarrett, back to your bewilderment.
Bewilderment's an understatement, dude. I can think of movies off the top of my head that you and I both agree are like the worst of all time, and it's just I'm getting discombobulated.
Actually, that could be a
wrap
good
my head around it.
exercise. That could be a good exercise if you want to toss out a few movies and I'll tell you better or worse. Like if
The English
Steamboy's
Patient.
okay, I'd say Steamboy's better.
1517 to Paris.
That was actually one of the ones that I had thought of when me and Lydia were trying to come up with god awful fucking movies. I would say this movie is better than the 1517 to Paris.
The Clone Wars. Is that right?
Is that the second
The second
Star Wars
yes.
prequel? Oh god, that one's awful.
I'd say Revenge of the Sith is worse.
No.
See, other people
I don't
like
know.
that though.
I don't like any of them. You know what? I'm going to let my hatred of George Lucas get the best of me. I'll say Steamboy's better.
Okay.
Tiny furniture. Come on. now.
This is going to pain me to say.
Don't do it.
Subjectively, I would rather watch Steamboy than Tiny Furniture because I would rather do anything.
Dude. Oh,
As far as a movie goes, Tiny Furniture is probably better. But I'm not an authority. I can't tell you what is objectively right and wrong or good, but Tiny Furniture at least is cohesive.
This is like my brother like committing a crime, dude. I'm just in shock. I'm shocked and chagrined. I don't know.
At least Tiny Furniture attempts to create a compelling character. Like, it doesn't succeed, but at least it tries, you know? I did not expect you to have such an adverse reaction. Like, can I just shit on it?
Dude, no, you can. I'm not sitting here saying it's a masterpiece. I'm just lost. I don't understand.
We can get to that. You guys talk about what you liked about it or what you disliked about it, just to start us off, and we'll get to why I hated it. Or would you rather me start there just to make it make more sense? I think that would be a better closer, but that's just me.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Again, I thought the animation was great.
The animation was really great. A lot of them, there was so much motion in it.
Well, it was when it was made, it was the highest budget anime movie ever.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because it was Homie's it was his comeback after Akira.
It was
A
that
welcome
long?
back
Was
masterpiece.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
a second. Yeah, that's a second movie.
Wait, I knew that. I made the bracket, and I wanted to put Akira on there, and I wanted every director to have more than one, and that was the only fucking thing I could find. I was like, what the fuck was this guy doing? Okay,
I don't
so
know.
I did know
He's
that.
doing
My bad.
something. No, you're good. Yeah, animation. I thought even just the static characters, because usually that's an issue, especially with Miyazaki movies. Whenever the characters are just sitting talking, that's actually a bit of a qualm with the Wind Rises. Whenever
Frog
the characters
people.
are just sitting talking, it's just the animation is just a bit jarring. It just kind of, it's almost like Ghost in the Shell, just kind of.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of like,
But the Steamboy, the animation was god tier. It was so good. The plot was so mid. It was mid as hell. I will say, I wish, and maybe I'm just not watching the right stuff. I like the progress versus war thematic. Mostly because, mainly because it is explored beautifully in the Water 7 arc of One Piece, and I don't see many.
It can't be the Spaghetti and Meat Boys podcast if Jared doesn't bring up One Piece. Honestly,
I'm just saying, dude. Ian, I think we made it that far with Frankie and his backstory, but sorry, Houston. He makes this. He's a shipwright. He makes battleships, and because he thinks they're cool, and his battleships are used by the government to kill and frame his master.
oh yeah, I definitely saw Frankie.
And
it's
it's a great,
The Wind Rises,
it's a
I
great
got you.
thematic.
it was good.
But yeah, it's in Steamboy. It's Grandpa just wants science to be good and used for everybody. Dad just wants power. Science is power. Dark-haired guy believes science is for the nation. It should be better served for your government. And I don't know. I didn't give a shit about the the plot or again. It was eye candy. The movie was eye candy. It's very
I can see that.
very fun to watch.
It was heart candy too, as well. I think like a lot, like some of the heart stuff. It wasn't nutritious, but it was sort of like you're just sort of told this is important, and you go okay, and then it's sort of fun. You go,
I don't know,
Okay,
dude.
that was kind of.
I don't know, that scene between I don't even remember their fucking names, the main kid and the girl, when they're like exploring the or whatever it was, the building, after hours, and she's just like, do you want to dance? And like she gets mad at him because he talks about her mom, and then it's never explored for the rest of the
No.
That scene was
that's good.
was rough. No,
like just sort of a childish, very surface level like love interest.
but it's
kinda
not
thing.
even
It's
that.
nice. It's
It
just
was
kinda
one
cute.
scene that like hinted at it, and then it's not explored until the end when it's like, oh, I guess they
It's
fucked.
not nutritious, but I thought it was fine. Like when he goes like, let's go over here instead. I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. And then we just kind of moved on. I didn't want it to go further than that. I think if
Yeah.
it was like if they were like dancing together and like it was like the camera was swirling around them, I would have hated that much more. I'm glad that they did.
Yeah, I think it was just as bad, dude. It felt like I was dehydrated and like a drop of rain hit my forehead. That's what it felt like.
You just sort of jarred for a second. You look around and you're like, oh, I guess that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It was actually somebody with a turkey baster on the 4th floor.
A turkey baster, nice.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, Ian, but also like
Uh-huh.
it would have been fine if like there were these just organic moments that were kind of toned down, but it seemed like the movie was like really trying to like make the emotions resonate with you, but like did none of the work. Like I think Jared's right. Like that scene just seems so very like
I
they
didn't feel
put
like they
that
were
one in
trying that
there.
hard.
The whole final scene with the dad and the grandpa like working together to blow up. I was like,
I
man,
thought that was
shut the
I thought
fuck
that was
up.
Okay,
kind of
I
effortless.
actually no, I didn't mind the rest of it. It was specifically the relationship between the main guy and the girl. I didn't like that. That felt forced. But the dad and everything, I didn't mind it. It was
Also-
okay. It was predictable and boring, but
Yeah, the kid and the rich girl seemed like they earned each other's affection a little bit more just by the amount of time that they spent like working on the same goal. Not a lot, but like way more than like the dad or the grandpa. Like you watch them like fight each other, and then the last moment it's like, "See you on the other side, old timer." Like,
No, I
all
always
right.
got the I always got the inclination that they loved each other, but they were enemies because they had to be, not or because of
that's why
principle,
they
not
didn't
because
kill
they
each
actually
other.
hate each other. Yeah,
He shot him.
because he had to
no,
finish.
it wasn't
but
him that shot him. It was one of the other guys that shot him.
No, the grandpa shot dad.
The grandpa shot the dad
Yeah,
at
but
the end, but then ended up hitting
But
him in the
that's-
metal.
but I feel like that was
Yeah.
principle. Like you're going to destroy the world.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
it was
I agree.
hard.
That wasn't
for
the
him. It was
best.
hard for him.
Yeah, it didn't look that hard for him.
No,
But
though
talking-
I was
speaking of a
geeking
cringy
at
moment.
that entire scene. That scene was getting me. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. And speaking of a cringy moment, one that Houston mentioned by name in our little Snapchat was the scene where the grandpa says like "go" and then he goes back into the clouds. You said it was like a meme. The part right after that I thought was funny. I sort of giggled and I
What?
thought it was good. Where
I
when he's
actually
like,
laughed. That
you-
was the-
that was good. Where he's like,
I don't
"Go,
think it was
it's all
trying to
over
make me
now."
laugh.
No, I think it definitely was. That
Yeah,
was
I think
definitely
it
supposed to be a
definitely
funny
was.
scene because he
Oh,
goes
yeah.
back and they say like we're not in the river. He goes what? And he comes back out.
He goes,
Yeah,
"Oh
like-
shit!" Yeah.
He was. It was like a pseudo like soft sort of like it was like a play. It was a play on the cliche.
Yeah,
It was
I mean,
comedic
I thought it was
relief
cute.
and an intense string of
Sure, it
scenes.
was, but like I just don't think it was effective necessarily.
You
Mainly
laughed.
because
What do you
fair.
mean?
That's fair. That's
so
fair.
here's the thing.
Laughed.
I can point to about 27 other scenes that guaranteedly had nothing played for laughs. I was laughing my ass off the whole time. Oh my god, when the dude tried to game physics by putting a ball in a shirt and going huh to launch himself farther.
That was cool. What do you
It was
mean?
cool. It was
I
cool,
was just
and
giggling
everyone was
my
surprised by
ass
his
off.
ingenuity. It was a character building scene. He's smart too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been
It doesn't
ingenuity
make
if
any
it was
sense.
at all plausible.
It doesn't make any sense.
Houston,
like that
think
how
about
he
this fucking
slung
movie.
a
You
thing.
can't make a ball of like I don't even know how much fucking energy is condensed into that.
Doesn't make any
powering
fucking
fucking
sense.
the largest mech in existence. Of course,
I'm
They
not
just,
saying
they just
about
have like
plausibility.
15 bolts on it, and it's got like a billion psi
Yeah.
Look,
inside it.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that. But like I'm fine with buying all of that shit. But there was nothing in that movie aside from that one scene to tell me that gravity just worked differently. Are you
don't
fucking
think-
kidding
again.
me? His fucking arm would have just gone float and he would have gone straight fucking down. Come on. He wouldn't have been able to launch off. Like
Okay, the
trying to
only
do is, like,
issue, the
arm
only issue
momentum and
physically,
sh-
the
yeah.
only issue physically is he wouldn't have been able to throw it. If there's a heavy object you're attached to, you'll get pulled with. The only issue is that he was able
yes,
to
you
propel it
cannot
at such
propel that
speed.
yourself. He would have just jumped and he just would have fallen down. That's all that would.
Well,
Same thing when he was
yes.
like flying out, like the water broke and like shot out of the side of the building. Like the water like arches like this, and you see him like slide down on it, and I'm just like, motherfucker would have fallen right through the middle and just splatted on the concrete.
Ah, that's
I was
bomb.
like-
yeah,
And
yeah.
I didn't
also,
care. That was
in
not something that
defense-
I actually wrote down as like
Okay,
being
good.
bad. I'm just saying that like they were gaming some physics, and I was like, I
In-
can't buy that as an ingenious scene because like
In
it was
defense-
dumb.
In defense of the scene, that scene in particular, throwing the ball before jumping is a benefit to you physically.
That
it would
might be
not
fair.
pull you with you, but it would.
But here's the thing:
you're giving it some momentum. So
he
it's
was a
not falling straight
superhero.
down.
They had established about 12 seconds before he jumped about 3 stories, landed on his feet, didn't roll, and got up and kept running.
And then
I mean,
someone else
dude, the
did
end
right
credits,
after
the
him,
end
though.
credits showed he was a superhero. Did y'all watch the
Yeah,
end
he did.
credits?
I watched
Yeah, that
the
was hilarious. I was like, "What is this? What?"
I
is
will
this?
get
Yeah.
to the end credits later, but that
No, I will
shit-
agree that the end credits are memey as fuck. I was like, I hated them but they were
If
so
this was
funny.
if this was like a tried and true character that had been in comic books since the 30s, I think you could do that because we all
Yeah.
understand that he goes on to do other things. But to just be like, oh, by the way, he's also like a superhero all over the world in like Paris.
that
and shit,
girl
you're
you
like,
really
what?
cared about,
Why?
she's a
Who cares?
pilot now.
I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that later. All
Say
right,
one
keep
more
going.
thing about the scene.
Yeah.
Number one, I think it does benefit him physically, although obviously it's pulling him, which isn't.
Yeah.
But I think
I don't know.
that it's
I didn't
not-
care.
It's
actually.
not
fine.
necessarily ingenious necessarily because he has this knowledge of physics where he does this. I
Yes,
think
it shows that
because
he-
everyone has these options set out for him, and then he chooses a different way, which works better than all the other options, and they're all impressed by that. That he does something that's daring and succeeds that they didn't think of.
I mean, look, I don't think. I mean, he was clearly following one option. Like his grandpa was just like, "Get the fucking ball out of here."
No, they were like climb down the ladder, or they gave him like at least 2 distinct different things to do. Like, and then he did something that was completely different, and it
and
worked.
he had to
And you
use his brain to fix
Wow.
fix the problem at hand.
and
he
he's
did.
risk
Okay.
to
Sorry.
succeed, as they say a couple times.
Yes.
Yeah, which I thought that was like a bad message.
I thought it was a bad message.
What do you mean?
Especially
What?
since
No, like it was supposed to be a bad thing. That's what the grandpa says that directly harms the dad, and then like later he was just like, "I was wrong."
But then the
I
whole
kind of
climax of the movie, they're all risking shit to succeed. I think they.
I do.
No, they're
follow
not
that
risking
through
shit to
Houston
succeed.
there.
They're risking shit out of obligation to not blow up half of England.
Dude, no,
And,
they
like-
could easily just fucking leave. The dude's got a jetpack. What?
Okay, they could easily just leave, but the grandpa had already been like, "No, I have to go down with the ship." From before that, they knew that he was gonna blow up in the middle of the city. He was gonna go down with it anyway. It wasn't that big a deal. I don't think it was that deep. I think it was just some shit that people say in movies like that, and they were like, "Yeah, put that in." That was like half this movie. It's like, what kind of shit do people say in movies like this?
I have a feeling that with the scene where the dad gets blasted with steam because the grandpa was like we got to risk is the way to progress or something like that. I feel like there should have been, or maybe there was, a scene where he shows deep regret for that decision, and that influences his later decisions, in that he's like, "I'm so sorry I did that to you. It's changed the way I see things, and what I did to you has changed who you are and turned you to the dark side, and it's kind of my fault." But he sort of fucks up dad,
Yeah,
and then just sort of like never really apologizes or addresses it or anything. And then I feel like there was a scene somewhere where he was like, "I'm really sorry for doing that. I'm sort of responsible for the way you are now."
the only time he could come close to saying that was being like, "Science, it's gonna be used for bad. I couldn't see it until it was too late. You, boy, you are the only one in the world with a pure enough heart to do science. You have to be the one to go on. You're a Steam. You have to carry the legacy of Steam because you have the purest of hearts." That was the closest thing to an apology.
Yo, the worst
that
part of
wasn't
the
even
movie
too-
was
yeah.
when the grandpa called him Steamboy. That was the
Steamboy.
worst part of the movie.
That
Like
was
a
that
Suicide
fucking scene.
Squad.
That's sort of why I'm in again, going back to the disbelief, the bamboozle that you're pulling on me, Houston. Like, it's, to me, this feels no different. Well, not exactly the same, but it feels similar to that of an Indiana Jones type of thing, where
When you said
negate
adventure, so I thought.
adventure. Yes, the physics may not make sense. Yes, the logistics behind everything. The plot may not be that deep. The thematics aren't that deep. But it looks good. It's fun. It's cool. It's a good time. And I don't know.
If we're going to liken it to Indiana Jones, I would say it has like the tone of The Last Crusade with the riding of the Crystal Skull. Then I can
It's
see it.
not
Boring
that
as hell.
bad, man. Dude, come on.
Dude, that was okay. Do
I could
you
say
guys want me to
I
go
could
through
see-
why I just like did not fucking like this shit at all?
Sure.
Go for it.
Just would
We're-
that help provide a dimension for like what to speak to me about? Like or
Yes.
I hope so. I hope so.
Okay. So let's see. The first note that I wrote was a positive note. I said, this is my kind of movie, anti-capitalist and anti-religion all in the first 10 minutes.
Where was the
So,
anti-religion? I didn't see that.
After he leaves the factory, there's a headline in the news of like the person who was caught being like a killer or like a shitty fuck or whatever was like the minister of the church. The first time I saw a monocled old dude, I was like, he's a good guy, but he's misunderstood. Like he accidentally fucks some shit up.
Yeah.
But he has good intentions. So like you got the dad from Tarzan, you got the inventor from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like any like dude with like a mustache or a pointy beard and a fucking monocle is always gonna be like he's got a one-track mind and gets roped into some like bullshit, but like truly didn't want to be there and is redeemable. And I was
The
absolutely
Pringles
correct.
guy?
Yes, Mr. Monopoly.
Yeah. Planter Peanut?
No, dude, that motherfucker. He showed that scene of him that just cuts to him like on like getting off the train, like looking all like conspicuous, like or whatever. And I was like, how, you're trying to blend in, but you're wearing a motherfucking top hat, a fucking trench coat, and a monocle. Like,
Didn't we already establish that was Grandpa at that point?
yes,
I didn't. I sort of
no,
was
we
on his
yeah.
side at that point.
I'm not saying you weren't supposed to be on his side. Well, no, you hadn't established he was Grandpa.
I feel like I thought he was. Yeah, I feel like because he was like my dad and grandpa are in America, and then I thought, okay, well, there's the old man and his
The
son
opening
who are in
scene.
America.
The opening scene was him like fucking shit up and being like, no, through risk is where progress happens. Like that was the first thing you see of the old dude.
That's
So
fair.
it's like him
I did
like,
not.
causing a fucking gigantic explosion. And like his son is in the middle of it. That's the first thing you see of him. And then you see him all creepy like getting off the fucking train. And it's like, my dad is in fucking America. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's fair. But when you
I'm
see
not
the
saying
people
it's
looking for him, like that's a classic. Like he's the
Yes.
victim. He's the person. We're
Yes,
supposed to
I know.
sympathize with.
I know. That's all I'm saying was like from this dude's character model, I could tell he was going to be like an unintended victim, pretty much.
It's
Or
like
an
the
unintended
all-seeing
bad
old
He
guy.
didn't mean to. Yes.
The all-seeing old guy from
Yep.
Boy and the Beast.
Yep.
You knew what he was up to. You knew he was going to be like that.
Boo.
All right. Everyone was kind of pudgy, like, especially in their family. Like, fucking. This is just notes I wrote down. I'm not saying this.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying
If you want me to give reasons why it's a shit film, I will. But like, these were just what I saw.
I have a point for the family if you want
Yeah.
to hear it.
Sure.
The family, I don't understand why he was working in a factory as a child when they have like a 5-bedroom house.
I wrote
and,
that
like,
shit down. I was
they're
like, you were
doing
the
fine.
heir of the two like most well-renowned inventors,
Yeah.
and you're
Why are
fucking like
you-
you're straight up in the jungle right now, man.
He's
Like,
owning his craft. He came
it's
home.
child
But he's doing it.
labor.
He has the workshop.
We're
He's
in the
already, like,
1800s.
running it
What do
there.
you mean?
No, he stole it. He stole. That's what I'm saying. Like, no, he was.
He stole the valve.
I'm
but,
assuming-
like,
yes.
was that his plan the whole time?
Yes,
I
I'm
didn't
pretty
get
sure
that
he was-
indication.
I am pretty sure he was working at the factory so he could siphon parts for his own inventions at home. That's what I got. I was just saying,
He's
like,
thinking
dude, go
outside the
home.
box, man.
thinking
He's not
outside the
doing what
box.
anyone sets out for him.
No, dude, he's thinking
Yep.
outside the steam castle, bro.
Tower.
Steamboy.
His last name is Steam. That
Yeah,
come on. Like, okay.
it's perfect. It's a children's movie.
Dude, did you guys notice when he hit the kid over the head with the brass pipe? The kid made the most pussy pterodactyl noise of all time. He was like, I was like, what the
I
fuck
like
was
that.
that?
I feel like
You
that's
hit the
the
kid,
sound
he
a
was like-
child would make if you hit them over the head with a brass
Especially if
pipe.
they're like a bitch.
I'm
which
not
that
saying
guy
it was wrong. I was just saying I was laughing my ass off.
Yes.
I said this entire movie would be fine if every character was a bionicle. I think it would make more sense if everyone was a bionicle, because it would make the dialogue like less stilted and more like, you know what I mean? Bionicle takes its shit way too seriously, but like it's whatever because it's a toy.
I know exactly.
I watched it in sub, and the dialogue was fine. It was totally
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was fine. Yeah.
I'm laughing my ass off because he's like ranting about this godlike power that's like clearly going to be obsolete in 40 to 50 years. Which I was just like, yeah, I understand like the message, and at the time that was what but they're like, we could take to the skies, and I'm just like, hey, dude, just wait a couple decades, the airplane will exist with no steam. Fuck you. Like, so even if like the bad guys prevailed and he took over the world, the regime would fall in a few years.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
The craziest part to me is that they built the most technologically, sophisticated steam tower or really anything ever built by anyone, and they never came up with a combustion engine.
Yeah.
But I was willing to ignore that.
They were harnessing like godlike steam power. And they're like, yeah, but there's no way we could use like anything but like just like the most basic gear like in rotator system. Like everything has to be like this one way, because that's how steam gets used. We just like, I thought that was so weird. It's like we discovered a new form of steam, and not like we made like a cool contraption. Like it was already a movie full of contraptions, so like why not come up with a contraption? Like why just like harness? So they were always like, it's science,
MacGuffin.
it's science, and I was like, come on, man! Like you guys are like engineers of like metal and steam powered things. You guys are not gonna be the ones like sitting over here like discovering like the pressure of the gods. Like that's just a completely different type of work there.
But they're scientists from the late 1800s, and scientists were just scientists of everything, and they were self-taught.
Okay, maybe so.
It's historically accurate, Houston.
They
Yeah, I'm
also
sure it
said
is.
in the movie, they said they were self-taught.
Yes, that is
Yes, they
true.
did.
My favorite line in the entire movie was the girl saying, tell me before you blow steam all over me," which is hilarious because the boy's last name was Steam. So this was
I
also
think
like,
that was a dub thing, because in the sub that I was listening to, she says, "Tell me before you do that."
okay, yeah. Well, in the dub, she's like, "Tell me before you're gonna blow steam all over me." I was like, ooh. There so much of this movie was just like way too sexual.
There's a deleted scene where they played the B game.
Here's an actual gripe I have. Like, here's an actual thing about like this movie. And this movie could have been 100% everything that I wanted, like in every other aspect, and I would still say this. This movie has the worst transitions I have ever seen in any movie of all time.
They weren't great.
Examples of like, it would just like start fading out on something, and instead of like cross fading or completely fading, it would just stop in the middle and then cut to the next scene. Like, what are you doing? Or I love the establishing shots in this movie were complete ass. For one, like there was even a random one where it was like when the London Fair or whatever was happening, and it's just like it's showing the parade and it's showing the people, and then it shows some dude on the corner in a back alley like in his underwear with the king's crown on his head. I
like
just
that.
laughed.
I
thought it was
like
funny.
that.
I'm not saying I'm saying like that was funny, but
Okay.
when it came to the action scenes, oh my god, like the action was cool, but you could never get a foothold on like how things were moving and where they were spatially. It was one of the most claustrophobic and just like disorienting fucking movies I've ever seen. Like it rivals some of the worst like spatially realized movies I've ever seen in my life. The way everything was
I thought the
dropped,
space was used fine. What do you
I
mean?
thought it was used.
It's
well,
not. It
in
wasn't
fact.
used fine. It's like it wasn't established correctly. It's one of those movies where like they're making you fill things in your head, and like it really doesn't make sense at all. Like I did not. How was the castle moving? Like
It
at
had
the beginning.
giant legs.
Howls is the castle movie.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay, so but the legs didn't get deployed until later when the grandpa took over. So how is it moving in the first place? And they had said
Originally,
that it was flying.
originally it was propelled, and then when they landed it, they sent the legs out. Originally, it was just steam propelled up.
Yeah, so it was like
Yeah.
flying, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
But then
yes.
so like how did we get it to drift from the wall all the way over to the middle of the city, tipped over, but then also get its legs deployed out like fucking all the way back to where it came from in this time? Like we never saw this shit moving. Like we never saw how it functioned. They were just frames. It was frames full of just like, wow, look at all this steam. Wow, look at all these gears. But nothing was intuitive. No space. I could never tell. I couldn't get a hold on where they were in the castle at any time other than
I like that.
Because I don't know why. Why does it matter?
It just
I like that. I like that it's like a level of like it's beyond understanding. It's so complex that it's like, it's unfathomable in a sense.
But
I like that sort of it's not cosmic horror, but that sort of vibe of like it's so big that it's sort of like
it wasn't unfathomable to me. Like it didn't seem like it was supposed to be played thematically that way. It really just seems like some artist like made like this super huge structure to like fill in the frame, and they just like ran with it. And even small things like when the Navy is fighting the steam castle, like all of a sudden, they line up their 6 to 8 steam engines that are all on the train tracks that all diverge right in front of the water, and then they shoot those little those medieval type of like grapple launchers that have not only chains on them but a pulley system. Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck? How did they get all that shit right there? And like, why was the area designed that way?
Because the rival inventor is working with the Navy.
That might be fine, but it was one of those things like, hey, we have 2 good inventors. Instead of like really showing off their inventions, we're just gonna say they're there. Like nothing. None of the.
I don't think. What do you think did come out again?
I think the design of almost everything was complete ass. Like the production design was garbage.
I can't. That's like the opposite of what I think.
It
looks
was
great.
so fucking like. There are just things like it seemed like something that somebody like. I think Lydia put it really well. I'm gonna rip her off here, but she's like, "This is just like in the imagination of like when like 4-year-old kids are in their like planes and trains and boats phase. It looks like what they would draw and be like, I'm gonna put a this on the train and I'm gonna put a this on the train, and it just
no.
Was
there was
stupid.
So much intricacy in the details on every invention. There was gears,
no
the lever.
Awesome. It was awesome.
No,
it was redundant. And it was all superficial. And
because that's exactly what machines look like, dude. If you were looking at a machine, you would see all these nitty gritty details. You would have no idea what the fuck they are, but they would be there.
It's
that
like
doesn't
magic.
create
it's a little bit of magic to the universe. It doesn't have to be
Yes, it
functional.
does, because it looks cool as shit. It looks like the pinnacle
I did
of
not think it
mechanical
looked
engineering.
cool. I think almost all of this movie looked bleak to me. Like it's just like anytime the music,
it's steampunk.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying, like the music would swell, and you would just see like a giant boat showing up, like through the fucking polluted river, just billowing black steam, and it's just like yay! And I'm like, this is just disgusting. Like it just. The visuals do not match what they're trying to get across. You can't. And there's no way for us to argue this productively, because like I can say like
possibly yes, yeah.
Functionally, these images do not look like they would work. Do not look established, and don't even look that cool. They really just look like a bunch of stuff thrown together to make it look like an advanced version of said image you already know, and that would have been fine if. And I look at that It boils down to just like, especially in animation, it's just how production and character design works as well. I'm not talking about characters in this one, but if you look at it, feels like Monsters University instead of Monsters Inc. Like when I watch Monsters Inc., the original one, every single monster has its own like unique design, and there are small little details on like how like the transit system like works, and the storefronts, they don't look like regular human things. They mimic it, but they're kind of a little like fine. Their details are tailored to monsters. Then you go watch Monsters University, and they get on a Greyhound bus to go to like an Ivy League looking school, and like all the monsters, like the main characters are a little different, but like the models are just like the same kind of goop, shaped a little different ways. And it's just like when I see Randall, I know exactly what type of character he is by looking at him. When I see Mike, I know what type of character. When I see the fucking spider dude, I know he's the goddamn twist villain. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
And
That's
so
a good
like,
argument.
and
You've
I'm
won me
saying
over
with
on that.
so like this movie feels like it was trying to be that type of like, wow, like it's a jetpack, but it's different because of this, or like, wow, it's Hal's Moving Castle, but just like times 20. But it all just really looked like it was the same jumbled mess of gears and pipes that wasn't unique.
I think
to
you
me,
could,
it all just looked like one. The steam
can-
castle was not different from the gliders, was not different from the little marching
very different.
soldiers, was
See,
not different from
you
the,
can
they were
definitely
all
see the difference between
same.
the
To
brutalist
me,
versus the
you
delicate.
you sound like what Lydia
Brutalist.
was describing right now.
Brutal,
You sound
rather.
like that
Yeah, I
kid
know.
who just
Not
has an
architecture.
idea and is just putting random stuff right now.
What are you fucking talking about?
You sound like a guy who has no idea of the intricacies of machines and it's just like, yeah, it just looks like a bunch of cogs.
I'm
and
sorry,
gears.
I'm
I
sorry,
see what he
did we
means.
just-
Maybe I can present it. Maybe I can
Did
present
we
it
just
in-
not? Did we just not tell me that like I was ridiculous for thinking physics would work in this universe, but also like I don't understand how real machines work. So therefore, in this imaginary steampunk universe where
No,
there's
you're
a
talking
fucking
about the way stuff
800 like
looks.
mile
You said
castle.
none of the. You said they don't look unique. They absolutely.
No, well,
look
here's what I
unique.
think he's saying.
None of the machine looks the same.
What I think
Yeah, no.
what I think he's looking for is like they obviously look unique. You can tell like, oh, that's the different one from that one that I just
Yes.
saw. But what he's saying is that you cannot determine their characteristics sort of intrinsically based on their appearance. Like you see things and you go, ooh, that's evil, or you
Yes.
see something else and you see like, ooh, that's good, or that's supposed to be like the noble vehicle, or that's supposed to be
Yes.
a like a nasty.
I disagree. I think
deceptive-
that, like you said, the whole movie's grim. The only person that's quote unquote good is the main character, and he's the only machine that looks almost. It sparks sort
I
of
would
an
say that
excitement.
I would say
The
that
other
with his
ones are a lot
initial
more
machine,
grim
the
and
one
a
that
lot
like
more-
gets destroyed in the first 20 minutes, nothing else he touches looks any different from anything else.
But see,
What do you
I
think?
think
The jetpack
to
was
the
cool as fuck.
The
It
final
was too-
jetpack.
It
the
was
final
the
jetpack-
bottom of a swivel chair
no,
with
no,
a
no, no.
ball on top of it, dude.
And that's
Don't-
unique, just like the circular
But
thing
see-
that he was riding. It was
but
cool.
see,
He's
that
inventive.
Boring
one-
as shit.
That the one he's riding on top of, that one looks thrown together. It looks that way
Yeah.
because it is. Then you have the jetpack, which is very elegant and sort of has this nice
Elegant.
bends.
It's Amelia Earhart's outfit with two like fucking like Lego railings coming out of the
Either
side.
way,
Come
either
on,
way,
my guy.
Either
It
way,
is
you can
gray and
you can
boring.
understand its difference from the other things. But if you look at all of the preliminary vehicles, the ones that they made for the military, you can see. I agree that they all kind of look similar, and you can't determine any characteristics. They're just sort of like red and green. There's no any sort of
Yeah.
characteristics you can get from them. But I think the point of that is that those aren't the passion projects of the team. I think
Yes.
that's why that the steam tower
Yes.
looks so dynamic
No.
and looks so
Yes.
unique.
The
that
steam
those
tower
things
does
are
not look dynamic and unique. From
it
the
is.
outside,
It's all
the steam-
black and gothic and just towering, and it
it's
has
black.
those giant.
It is not
jets
black
of
and
steam
gothic
coming
to make any sort of like visual statement. It is black and gothic,
is.
so it can all blend into itself, so they don't have to spend hours and hours drawing
It
out
can-
every
it can
little
be,
part.
It can be both, and also I think it is very highly foreboding. It's foreboding and brilliant. Like it's supposed to have that contrast of like its
Dude.
awesome power, but its terrifying nature.
It was the most boring type of foreboding because there was it didn't stand out as any one thing. Also, it was
It's all
praised as this
subjective.
the greatest creation of all time that was being contorted and twisted for something bad. But in its physical appearance, like it was just a giant. It was a giant blob. It was a giant fucking blob with a glass dome on the top.
I don't
like-
think that the steam tower was ever intended to be something for good.
Even
I
the
think
dad
it's
is
all
like,
about the
we'll-
steam balls, right?
We'll put no.
That's
he
what he's
said,
really
we'll
talking
put,
about.
We'll put your functions to use, and they turn on the carousel and the Ferris wheel.
That was
And
cute. I like that.
He said he wanted it to be a hospital for children. Like
Mm.
the grandpa had
Did he
said,
say
like he
that? I
wanted
don't
to
remember
use
that.
it to help people. Like that was the whole fucking point
Okay.
of his.
Okay, if that's
He
true,
twisted so-
then
yes.
that's a little ridiculous. Obviously, the
Yes.
steam tower is never going to be used for good. It's a giant.
Honestly, it was
It has
never.
to be like, wow, this is brilliant and
it
like
was
a
not-
crazy invention that like only a genius could come up with, but its consequences are terrible.
It was entirely scale. It was not scary because it was not inherently oppressive, and just turning it black does not
It's
make that happen.
massively oppressive.
No. What do you? But I'm saying like that's not the function that the castle had in the movie. Like it was the father.
I think
the father was the towering figure. Like he was the machine. Like you know what I mean?
Represents
like,
the consequences of his train of thought.
But it doesn't though. Like
perspective.
It's the birth of
that's
two
what it's
different
supposed
people.
to do. And if you don't like that, that's
it's not
reasonable,
functionally
but
that way.
it's not
It
like they
comes out
didn't
of the
think of
ground
that.
for everyone to ooh and ah for a scene. But like it
to
is
run
not
in
this.
fear.
Honestly, we don't get very many scenes of people. We don't get any scenes of people running in fear.
A very, very good point. One thing I noticed was like terrible, awful things are happening, and there's a surprising amount of people who are just like.
I think everyone was
just
supposed to be awestruck, but it just looked like a giant black blob that was like trying to be scary, but was not functionally scary because it was not what was coming after you.
That's fine, but I don't think you're going to convince either of us that that's an objective truth.
I'm not trying to convince. I just read what was written.
That's fair.
One thing that, Ian, I swear
Yes.
to God, you should hate this about this movie. And if you don't hate this about this movie, I think everything you've ever said on this podcast has been a lie.
Okay, we'll see if I hate it.
Just the amount of times that characters would speak to themselves when no one else is around to tell you what they're about to go do. Just how much that fucking happened. The fucking kid flying and he's just like, that must be the control tower. I need to get in there quick. Like, who are you fucking talking to? We know that. Like, we can see.
Have you ever watched anime before?
That's
Yeah, I
not
didn't
an
really
excuse
notice-
because
I
there's
noticed
not a
that
single
scene, but I didn't
there's not a
mind
single
that.
goddamn movie that we've watched on here that does it so horribly and egregiously like this movie does. That's not an excuse to say,
But,
have you ever seen anime? Like it's bad
That's
story.
literally
Here's the thing. In that
talking to you.
that case, I'm fine with people talking to themselves about like, what is that when they're processing something? But like the fact that like that was like visually every character did it. Like the grandpa did it all the time. The boy did it all the fucking time. They would just speak to themselves. Now it is time to go do this thing.
I didn't notice it so
They're
much.
processing.
All the
I
time.
didn't notice
No,
this. I
it's
see
not
what you're
in-
saying. Like
they're not seeing
conceptually is bad.
information and like
Yes.
it coming to them. The
I
kid
didn't
flying
know-
is the only one maybe, but also it is also the only time the castle has anything visually distinct on it, and we've already established that the pilot is in there because the like he'd already been inside of there, and he was like, "This is," and his dad was like, "This is the
Yeah.
control tower."
I
So
think-
when he's flying, I'm like, that must be the control tower. I know I was like there, and I
But-
know the audience has already seen my dad like piloting that shit, and I know no one needs me to tell this because it is visually different than the rest of this blob of a castle.
I think
I'm just gonna
it's
say it.
important. It's important that you signify because he was just doing something else. He was just doing something else. It's important
No,
that
he
you
was
signify
not
that he's
doing
about to
something
do something. That he's about to change his. That
No.
he's about to realize. Hold on. That he's about to do something else. You can do that visually. There are better ways that you can do that. But I think it is important that the audience knows. Okay, what he was just doing, he is now not. He was now going to do. His objective.
Okay,
is
so
if he had just
what was
flown
his
directly
objective?
in-
Okay, what was his objective when he flew from the jetpack up to the castle? What was his original objective, do you think?
My intention,
Get his dad.
it was
Save the grandpa.
save the grandpa, and then what I thought he was going to do was he was going to put the ball in the machine so that it could operate. Right, he was going to say that it's more important that it operates so that we can get it away from this terrible stuff that's happening because it's going to crash and blow up. But he was just involved in a battle with another character. I think it's important to signify at least maybe in the teensiest way that is past us. Now I'm going here.
But he was
but you
he was
can do that
already
visually. You
flying
don't have to
through the
say that.
air.
But I think
Like,
it is
he
important.
was already headed.
He was flying
to-
there the whole time when he was in the whole battle and he was doing all the other shit.
No,
He'd
so,
been flying
yeah,
in the air for a few
He was
minutes.
like, I need to get up there and stop this thing. And then the dude fights him, and then he like beats that guy. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to go fly up there and stop this thing. And then he's flying, and then he's like, hey, that must be where I should go stop this thing. It's the same objective the whole fucking time.
I know,
It's the
but I
exact
think
same
it
objective.
signifies that he's no longer focused on that. I think it's important for this.
How else is he going to enter the fucking castle?
But it's important to the narrative that it signifies to us that what was just happening is we're moving to the next step.
Feel free to keep explaining.
Okay.
I would just like to set my point first. That
Yeah,
way
go
I
ahead.
won't interrupt
No,
you.
you're good. You're good.
When it comes to just expressing, telling what we're going to do,
Yeah.
even if we already know what the character's going to do. To me, and that's completely fine if you think it's stupid, and I completely understand. But to me, that is present in 95% of. It's just a style of the anime medium.
Yeah.
Because in manga you have thought bubbles.
Yeah.
And you can't. Or it's sort of the same. To me, it was the same thing as when you have a thought bubble in an anime where they're just narrating, but they're thinking.
Yes.
And to me, it felt exactly the same.
And I do
and that's
agree.
why I don't think it's a big deal.
I do agree for some of the things that happened, because Lydia was actually complaining about that. She's like, why is everyone talking to themselves? And I was like, dude, like, this happens a lot in anime. This happens a lot. But what I was more peeved about was not that it was necessarily happening. I mean, yeah, I still think it's kind of stupid, and I don't really like when most animes do it. I think there are
totally
exceptions, but what I was more peeved about when it was like, Ian, you have to hate this. Please, God, tell me you hate this, because the amount of times, like when we were talking about, like, I guess I'll call back to like The Boy and the Beast, and we're talking about characters like interacting and like bonding over like emotional things that are like pertinent in their lives. He's like, they just like say that. They just like say that. Like, and so I was like, dude, if this does not like irk Ian that like people are not even just like saying internal things to other people, but just saying them to the fucking sky, I was like, if this man does not have a come apart about this, I don't know him.
I think it's
I'm
different.
going to be honest, Ian.
You explained well.
That's kind of sus, Ian.
I think it's different. I can provide my
Ian is the
argument why I think
imposter,
it's
dude. He
different.
says, no, I think you would. I mean, you can do it again if you want. I think
that'd be fun.
I do think it would be fun. But no, Ian, you did say you did point out a few reasons why already, and I think those are valid enough reasons for why. I'm not going to dictate how you are supposed to feel. If you want to go farther or re-explain them,
like I said, feelings.
Yes, but no,
you can tell me I'm a piece of shit in my argument.
No.
Piece of shit. I'm not gonna. It's not.
I'm not going to say that.
Isn't that implied?
What I'm saying, you shouldn't.
Fuck
you shouldn't say, like, oh, I wouldn't. We're just.
Yeah, no, I thought you were going to hate it. You've given reasons why you didn't hate it, though I don't necessarily agree with those reasons. I see
think
why
it's
you
good
didn't hate it.
content that you thought I would hate it.
I think it's great content, and I was pissed that you didn't hate it because I really wanted to bond with you over that one.
I'm
Hey,
sorry,
the silver
bro.
lining.
It wasn't there.
The silver lining is you have a trailer now for this episode.
You mean the brass lining?
On the skull of a young boy who screams.
The
like
silver
a crane.
lining is that you now have the trailer for this episode.
Dude, I'm not even worried about it.
You don't fucking understand. Dude, this whole fucking thing is whack, dude. Are you kidding? You're a goddamn piece of shit and your mother's a fucking whore.
Yeah, that should be it. That should be it. It should be Jared saying, "Have you ever seen anime before?"
Your mother's
That
a
should
whore.
just be that right there.
No, dude, no, that's. Oh God, no. The thing is, like, I cut a whole section of like outtakes from episode 4, but I just haven't had time to get to them because I've been doing episode 5, but also that other podcast that I'm doing with Jeremy and shit. So I have them, like, I just haven't finished them, but like I have the thumbnail and everything ready. Like I got some like bonus, just like a little 10-minute bonus episode of just like a conversation that we had taken out of episode 4 that I thought was pretty funny, but had literally nothing to do with anything. So it was like right before we voted, I was like, okay, like let's vote. And Jared's like, can I ask a question? Who would you take in a fight? Tall. And so that got us derailed on that and NGE and shit. And if it was like in the
Nice.
middle of the
I like
episode,
that.
I probably would have left it in. But it was like, okay, we're done. Now let's vote. She's like, yeah, let's talk about some other shit for 15 minutes. And it was fun.
It's good shit.
So that's why I'm going to release it separately. But yeah.
NG's good shit.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all
Yeah.
noticed, by the way, I crashed like 5 times.
Yes, we
We
definitely
did.
noticed.
We did. Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Japanese
Good.
boy.
Good professionalism keeping going because
Oh, definitely
job.
mentioned that you
we
had
mentioned
crashed
it.
once or twice. Professionalism
Okay, yeah.
keeping going. Every time you crash, I was like, this motherfucker doesn't even fucking know. Steamboy's a
Dude.
shit movie.
The hotspot gave out, so I switched the regular Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
The regular Wi-Fi went out right after that. Switched back to the hotspot, went out again, switched back to the regular, disconnected one more time, finally got on
Look,
it,
dude,
and we're still on
God,
it now.
why do we all have to suffer because you're poor, Jarrett? Like, why? Why are you making it our issue that you have no money and are broke
Guys,
as hell?
I cannot wait to be back. When I'm back in Auburn, bro, I'm going to have like 200 ping on this shit, you're not gonna be ready for it.
200 ping is awful.
Yeah, that's not very good.
You want low ping.
You want like
Oh,
sub
I had it
100 ping.
backwards.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You're talking about megabits per
I'm gonna have
second.
like 80 million frames per second.
Oh, dude.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, dude. Call up your boy Kenji. Get the computer from him, bro, so you can run all those monitors, dog. Make sure.
Dude,
sure
that's
you.
actually what I was. That's
Make
what I was
sure-
developing at work today. Was an aggressive AI for like what's that MMO? It's like Second Life. Second Life. That's kind of like Oz. You know what I'm
Roblox?
talking about? No, well, no. But do you know what Second Life is?
Oh, Gotcha Life.
Second Life is like The Sims,
Yeah,
but
Half-Life
it's fully
for sure,
immersive.
dude, all the time.
Fully immersive, and you literally live your whole life.
What,
And
Pop
it's like an
Tropica?
escape.
Toontown, dude. I do want to say, and I will put this on screen right now, but when I was talking about shit being memey, when he comes back to when he comes to like execute I can't remember if he comes to like the grandpa comes to execute the dad, or he comes back up to I can't necessarily remember. I've said that like 12 times. But you know, he's in just shorts, no shirt on, and he like walks through the steam and he just like stands there. And I straight up, like, my brain just went, Mom says it's my turn to use the Xbox. And I'm going to put it on screen right now, and I think it should be the new meme template. Like, I think that should be the new Mom said it's my turn.
That's good. I didn't think of that. Like,
I did love the one part where, like, you know, the battle for the Steam Castle is going on, and, like, one of the...
tower,
Like,
Steam Tower.
Steam Castle. That's what they called it. Or I guess...
No, they call it
In
Steam.
my
Oh, did they
my-
say? Did
my-
they say?
I guess they
castle
said
in English?
they said both. But yeah.
Okay, they only said tower.
Oh,
in the
Steam
sub.
Tower. I think it works better as Castle, if I'm being honest.
I could see that.
It
I
does
could
look
see
more
that,
like
yeah.
a castle, yeah.
It's
I think
not
that
very-
gives it cool dimension. But yeah, anyway, the battle for the Steam monolith, the Steam infinite structure, the Steam,
The Steamboy.
the oldest
Imagine
house.
if they'd called it Steamboy.
Dude, just imagine if like the kid was named Steamboy, bro.
What if it was
That'd be a
Steam
crazy
Dad?
Steam paternal.
Steam paw.
Yeah, but anyway, the battle's happening, and one of the buff ass like enforcer dudes from earlier is just sitting in the dining room, just eating food, and he has this face. He just goes, mm.
Yeah,
Like he just looks up at because like everything's rumbling. He's like, mm. And I was like, what?
So I
What? Yeah.
What the?
I think that was supposed to. Well, because he's the guy that eventually, when Steamboy landed on the wing, he's the
Yeah.
guy that was flying
the
like
plane.
the Da Vinci mega fucking
Yeah.
flight thing.
the
out of-
Vitruvian
I-
bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that. I think it was maybe supposed to signify he's meant for something more important. I don't know.
I think it's like.
I
he's
think
like,
it was
"Oh,
just
shit,
It was
I gotta go to
cringe.
work."
It was cringe.
No,
Yeah,
I'm saying it's in line with most of this movie's like random like cuts or transitions. Like I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying like it geeked me. Like everyone's like, oh god, and then he's just like eating food like. I was like, hell yeah, dude.
gotta keep your wits about.
Hey,
One
he's
thing
got not only his wits but his priorities. He's like, if we're going down, like I'm going down full.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
a good
move.
point. One thing I didn't understand about those goons is like, where did their inspiration come from after everything's falling apart? They're not getting
Yes.
paid anymore. Like, what are they?
I was about to. That was the next point I was going to bring up. Their
They're
motivation.
evil.
Yeah, the first guy that comes to the house is like, isn't this where Dr. Lloyd lives?
Yeah.
Like, that skinny
like that
dude
guy.
was the guy piloting the mechanical
The
hands
hands,
that were
yeah.
attacking the. And I was like,
Mhm.
what are you doing? You were
Yeah,
never
that's what
given any motivation. Like,
yeah.
You work. And I understand he was a little bit higher up the chain because he was like kicking people in the ass, like, this is what you signed up for.
But
But, like,
still,
at
like,
that
what does he
point-
see in this project? What does he see in this Steam Castle?
Yeah, it doesn't. And I could buy it if he was given like any type of monetary incentive. Like I could get like the Simon guy, like trying to keep everyone on even when it's going down because he's giving him a sales pitch.
Yeah.
I get that. But this dude only had lines to be like evil at the beginning, kick someone else in the ass, and then just be like another random bad guy later on the end. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I figured somebody else was going to point that
Yes,
one out.
I did notice that because I remember it was like I knew it was him because like when they do like the looking around thing, like he must
Yeah.
be somewhere in the room. And it's the same like animation sort of thing as when he was shooting.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so it's him. And then it was
Yeah.
him. And then it was like, why are you here? Why are you not evacuating? Like, what is?
Yeah, they gave him lines and they like established him as like a person, but not enough to actually have like any type of signifier other than the fact that like he sucks.
Yeah.
Like
And
so
also,
that
the
was so
premise
weird.
is that only the dad knows about this, and that like this is basically only his passion. Like that the dad's doing this all sort of solo.
The steam castle or tower or whatever had been talked up and hyped up so hard, and then they're like, I can't believe it. No, it's a steam, and I'm like, yeah, it's a steam castle. I'm like,
Yeah,
shit,
we've been doing this.
we've known from the beginning that this is possible. I'm not saying that was actually bad. Like, I just wish they would have just either left out that like people being like, no way, like the oohing and awing at it, because like it just was like, okay,
a little more build up. Or
yes, or they left a little bit. They didn't even have to make it mysterious. They just didn't need to say Steam Tower every 3 fucking sentences. Like they just said it a lot.
They did.
And I was like, dude, come on. And then I think that was pretty much all that I had other than the credit scenes. And I think I might want to wait and talk about those just fucking later because that'll take too long. But yeah.
I've got one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a part when the boy is with his dad on in the steam tower, and basically he's doing work for his dad after he gets kidnapped. And then they mention basically the dad is like, or the boy says something along the lines of talking to his mom, and he's like, and then the dad's like, yeah, I send her a letter every week.
No.
And he's like, you send her a letter every week? Yeah, because obviously she's not getting any letters. They haven't heard from him or anything. And then that just doesn't go anywhere.
He just lied to him so he didn't know he threw away the kid's letter. He was like, yeah, of course. I sent one out too.
Yeah, but I don't see how I don't think that's the way it was. I don't think it was even a lie because the boy lives with his mom. I don't think it was supposed to be a lie. I think it was supposed to be like the Foundation is deceiving him. He's sending these letters, but the Foundation isn't delivering them.
Okay, so
he's supposed to be. That's what I interpreted. But it never.
I would interpret it that way if the girl didn't find it in the trash can. Like she's
also,
like,
I
you
mean,
threw it in the
But you
trash.
find it
Like
in any
if
trash
the
can.
Foundation
She didn't say it was in his trash can.
I mean, he's being funded by the Foundation, but he's also like the highest up person.
But the boy does.
Like, I'm
talk
surely
about
he can send his own mail.
The boy does
surely he
talk
can send
about
his
how
own
he
mail.
thinks that the dad might be being deceived by the Foundation after
No.
that. He does.
Yeah, but that's the naivete of the kid wanting to believe that his dad's still good.
But I think that plays into that sort of evidence. I don't think. Why would he lie about that? Like, I send letters to your mom every week
Because
but
he's
you live with
evil.
you live with
Yeah.
like. I don't see how that could even ever possibly be a
Because he
viable
doesn't
lie.
care about anything but the megastructure. He's consumed by power. Like, why would he be sending letters to the mom? Like,
Why
he doesn't give a
lie?
fuck.
Why
because
lie? Why lie something that you know that the kid would know?
Because
the
he's like,
truth
hey,
of?
Dad, did you send that letter? He's like, oh, yeah. But you're just adding on to it. Have you never, you know
I
that
didn't
thing?
seen-
People
Have
get
I ever
nervous.
seen anime before?
No, not that. No, but in like, and I say this as a broad term, like criminal psychology. I'm not saying like criminal psychology is not an entity, so it can't agree on this. But the more details that people give when asked a point blank question, usually like criminal psychologists like, you might be lying here. You know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
you're just like, hey, did you send out that letter, Dad? All he has to say is yes.
So you think he's sort of psychopathic, or that's
No,
not the right word, probably,
he's
but like
making
he
he's
doesn't-
making up evidence because he's gotten caught lying. The kid's like, hey, Dad, did you ever send that letter out? Like questioning almost in a way that like, and the dad knows he threw it away. So instead of just being like, yeah, of course, he's like, oh yeah, I sent it out with the one that I wrote too. He's like, you send letters to Mom? Oh yeah, every week. He's
didn't come off that
lying to
way.
compensate. It's just a very common thing that like people who were guilty,
Yeah, I
when
understand
asked a
what you're
point blank
saying.
question, instead of just answering the question, they keep giving random details to try and make their story sound, oh yeah, I can't be lying because I remember this, and this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and it's like you're just overcompensating. I think that's all that was. He was just overcompensating.
I see what you're saying, but I don't think it was meant to be that way, or at least the
There's
way.
literally zero evidence that the Foundation is doing anything. Also, like, I was waiting for like a higher up antagonist who like controlled him, and I thought when he first sat down, like they made him into a cyborg, and like
Yeah,
Me
the
too, me
grandfather
too, yeah.
of the girl, the guy,
Yeah.
the chairman of the Foundation, and then he just never shows up.
Yes. So it was like the dad was the highest up that we ever see, and he is the main bad guy. Like he is the antagonist,
I don't think
or
he's
he
the highest up.
represents like
also
all of the
missed.
antagonist qualities. I mean, he's the force that everyone's working against the entire time, like our main characters are. So
And all the baddies
He seems
are
like a
working
saboteur to the Foundation.
yeah, I do not think the Foundation was also. If you were going
I
to
think it's implied
sabotage
that
like
way.
your highest inventor's letter, that you would go and abduct a child just to get a steam ball back. Like you're gonna do one of the most criminal. You're gonna massacre people at like the London Fair or whatever, or London whatever it was. Like you know what I mean? You wouldn't just be like, okay, he's gonna send a letter. Go ahead and just throw it in the bin over there. No, you would fucking burn that shit. You would.
No, I
You
don't
would make
think
sure
so.
that is not readable ever. Why would you leave it somewhere that is accessible to someone's hand completely intact? That's stupid.
I see what you're saying, and that all makes sense. I don't think it was intended to be that way.
You don't think it was intended? You think the Foundation was trying to sabotage
I
him?
think that was what was implied.
We never see a single. If we saw a physical entity that represented the Foundation that
Yeah,
took
that's what
the
I want.
mail,
No, I don't know.
maybe I could
think
see
it's
like,
fine
oh,
as
it's
a-
human
I think
error.
it's
But
fine
if
as
the
a passing
Foundation
phrase.
is just this concept, this evil concept, and they just like throw the letters in a trash can that like a girl can just walk over and pick up.
She's
Are
the
you shitting me?
she's
She's not the boss.
She is
She's the boss's
boss.
granddaughter.
She's
dude.
the
Yes, but
boss's
she's in charge of
granddaughter.
everybody. She can tell anyone what to do.
They can-
Anyway, it
no,
doesn't
she
matter.
can't. She doesn't.
Yes, she does.
She doesn't.
Everyone
she
calls
doesn't.
her
She can't
miss.
order. Everyone calls her miss because they have to be respectful, but she can't give actual orders.
I think she kind of can.
Except to that butler dude.
The butler dude is like the dude, though.
But even
He's a
then,
butler.
He's
What do you-
over
But
the- he's
even
over
then,
the-
he'll tell her no. He tells her no multiple times.
only
like,
in
he's just
dire
like, no,
situations.
sorry. No, don't go that way. Like, he's
Yeah,
like,
but-
yeah, he's a little sniveling piece of shit, but also like, it's not like she had the key to the fucking mail room. You know what I mean?
Bet she could
And
get into the
also,
fucking
here's the
mailroom.
thing:
Everyone's
Allegedly.
afraid of her.
did the
Everyone's-
Steam Tower have its own like
What do you mean?
mail
They're not
system?
afraid of her. They're just dismissive. They're just respectful and cordial.
The only
They clearly
person
don't
that's
give a
afraid
shit
of her is
about
that
her.
fucking
Disagree.
dog. Holy shit. She would beat the
Yeah,
crap out of
yeah.
it and then put it in a vase. Did anyone else notice that? She plopped it in a
Yes.
fucking vase to sit at
Yeah.
the table. I was laughing
Classic
my ass off.
American.
Yeah, pretty much. Her name was Scarlett O'Hara. I'm assuming
Really?
that-
Was it?
Yes. I was assuming that was a joke for Japanese audiences. Like that's the only thing that makes it redeemable. That it was like not a joke for, but like
I
they
can kinda
named her that as representative of America. But like
Wow.
Japanese
I
audiences
can't
like
believe I
wouldn't
didn't see
get that it's like literally fucking like a character from a book that like wears like me and Lydia were given all the characters nicknames, like shitty nicknames. Or we were trying to not give them nicknames but relate them to other people, like who did they look like? And like she pops up and we're like, oh, Scarlett O'Hara, and then the boat's named Scarlett. And we were like, oh God. And we're like, wait, isn't it the O'Hara Foundation? And I was like, oh like I was like,
Yes.
come on, dude. Are you fucking like we called like the military dude, he was Abraham Lincoln. I think the grandpa is Mr. Monopoly. I can't remember. There was some other good Marie Callender was the
The
mom.
military dude should have been Mr. Monopoly, right?
No, the military dude was the gray haired guy.
He had like
Um,
no hair and like a mustache, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he
I'm-
did. The British.
The British
You
Royal
talking about the
Navy dude,
British guy?
he had gray sideburns. A big chin
No,
strap.
I'm pretty sure he had a mustache. He had a mustache.
He definitely had a mustache. Maybe he had sideburns as well.
He
Are you
didn't have a
talking about
monocle.
the dude that the
dude
grandpa's
in-
like, hey, give this to this guy?
No, not
Oh,
the
no,
inventor.
no.
The
That's-
guy
that's what
above
I'm
him.
talking- Oh, I
That's what you're
don't know who the
talking
fuck
about.
that.
You're talking about Doctor.
He's
No,
like,
no,
is he
no.
the prime minister? Or
I'm not
something?
talking
I
about
don't know.
the commander of the. I'm talking about like the dude.
Yeah, the
what
other
was his name? The
inventor.
other
Oh yeah,
inventor.
he looked just like Abe Lincoln.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
saying. He's
yeah.
Abe Lincoln, and then his little assistant was fucking Milo from the goddamn Atlantis movie, which
I could see that.
I'll have you
like
know,
Oh, I thought he
came
looked like
out-
Stuart Little.
he came out. It came out before this movie, and it was a pretty steampunky with some advanced
Mm.
tech. And
We're talking about
it was
good
a little bit
movies.
better.
Houston.
Atlantis is all right. It's better than this
I
movie.
haven't seen it.
You can't talk shit. You haven't fucking seen it. It's
Saw it
pretty
when I
good.
was,
It's
like,
understood as
8.
one of the better
That
Disney
counts.
movies.
Anyway, sorry.
Yes, sorry about that. But yeah, that
No.
was.
That
I
was
was
it.
saying that like what was the
I'm
initial
saying
point
all I'm
of that?
saying
Oh, yeah.
is that it was that the O'Hara organization foundation was throwing away, and that's factual evidence, and you can't argue with it. And you're
Oh
absolutely
yeah, actually
wrong
you're
in
right.
every
You
way.
got me there.
Thank you.
I'm
now
sorry.
that we've settled that, we can move
Stream
on to.
sniped, dude.
Well, we should probably take a little bit of break because I do want to get another brewski and it's hot in here.
I
All right, guys, we're gonna be back in 5 minutes to talk about normal average movie that I'm not hyping up because it's just normal average and I have no bias towards it.
Good.
It's
right.
no Dallos.
It's no shit, children. I mean,
Yes.
actually, I like.
I'll leave this Zoom call.
Dude, every
bro.
time you
leave
clown
this.
on Wolf Children, I'm like, LOL, and Ian's like, what? You didn't like every time? Like, I'll be like, yeah, Wolf Children just was my favorite. He's like, what? Like it's the first time he's ever heard it.
See, yeah, like when I pick something that I like, and I'm just like, this is something I like. I like to defend it even against arguments that are valid.
No,
like NGE,
like a
Neon
human?
Genesis Evangelion. Like if you just provide an argument that's perfectly valid and reasonable, I will just fight against you.
Oh no, I know that, but I'm saying like I voted against Wolf Children, but I was like, yeah, it's not that bad. I just don't think it's. I was like, it's probably my least favorite that we've watched on the bracket, and you were like, what? And then like the next episode, I was like, yeah, fuck Wolf Children. You're like, you don't like Wolf Children, dude? Yeah, we've already established this, and then like,
Yeah, Houston. He doesn't watch the podcasts. We've already.
I know.
we've already,
yeah, he's just like, yeah, I didn't hear you
This
see
is
that.
a podcast. You guys are recording this?
But anyway, enough about Steam, bitch. We're gonna go take a break. I'm gonna fill my tum tum with some food and grab a brewski, and we'll be back.
to talk about Mishima.
Yes.
Oh God,
God,
yes,
I
I'd love that
wish.
shit. All right, we'll see you in a second.
Bonjour.
Whenever you're ready, Judah. Jerk.
Welcome back to the Spaghetti and Meat Boys podcast, the only podcast that is, in fact, a podcast. The second movie that we are talking about today is Hayao Miyazaki's semi-biographical pick, The Wind Rises,
I'm gonna stop you.
of
right
which...
Sorry. Are you what are you saying? Are you about to do a synopsis?
I was going to give some background and then a synopsis, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to take this synopsis, please.
Oh my.
He based it. I'm
Okay,
not
sorry.
going to do the synopsis. Let me get the background.
All right.
Semi-fictional biography by Hayao Miyazaki, of which he based on a manga that he had written that was also semi-fictional biographical, which he had based on a novel from the 30s that was a fictionalized biography about the guy Houston's going to describe. Go ahead, Houston.
All right, so The Wind Rises is, I guess I wouldn't call it semi-autobiographical, but it's a 2013 a film by Hayao Miyazaki. It was considered his farewell to filmmaking from Studio Ghibli, and he has upheld that. I think the only thing that he has written or directed since is a 14-minute short that wasn't used really for anything else. It was just kind of like a little project that he worked on the side. So this is really his farewell film. He's sticking to it. It follows a young Japanese boy, Jiro Horikoshi, who really, really loves planes. He realizes he cannot fly them because he is nearsighted. This is also the true life Jiro Horikoshi, who is a real person. And so he decides that he decides that he wants to become an aeronautical engineer instead. So the next best thing is he'll create planes instead of fly them. So it follows him in different stages of his life, and it jumps forward to him, going to school and getting his first job as an aeronautical engineer, making planes that are bought by the Japanese military throughout World War I and World War II. And I would say probably the biggest thing is, not the biggest thing, but something else is he does, in fact, inhabit this little dream space where he gets to interact with another real person, the famous Italian engineer, Caproni. What was his first name again?
Bro.
No.
What?
It's like Giovanni, or I can't remember. Caproni. the Italian guy that's in
Pizza.
the movie. What was his first name?
Pizza.
It's me, a Mario.
I think it's a gabagool.
It's a Romeo, Tony, Benvolio,
Oh, it's
Tybalt.
Oh.
Yeah, I believe I think he's right. It's actually
It's a sauce. It's a
Capone.
meatballs, sauce.
It's
It's Joni, it's Blondie, it's Al, it's Johnny, it's Richard.
Sorry. Okay. But anyway, yeah. So it follows him and his struggle with wanting to create beautiful airplanes and realize his dreams, but also he struggles with the idea of his creations being used as weapons for war. And at the same time, he does grow and fall in love with someone who is dying of tuberculosis. So this is kind of a jumble. It sounds like not a straightforward plot. But most of it was based off of, like Jarrett said, that book written on Jiro Horikoshi's life, who was the chief designer on the Zero Bomber, which for people who don't know is probably listed as the most deadly, I guess, singular plane in the history of, air warfare, I guess, or, and it was the plane that was flown for the bombing of Pearl Harbor. It was flown by kamikaze pilots. It was pretty much the thing that skyrocketed Japan from being way the fuck behind everyone to being like a serious threat in World War II. And then a lot of the other stuff is supplemented with things that Miyazaki had seen growing up with his father, who actually owned the Miyazaki plant that made parts for airplanes around the time as well. And his mother, he had grown up, and Miyazaki's mother had tuberculosis as well. So that's where all that comes from. So he kind of combined elements of his father for some of the more emotional and distance things from the story into the story of Jiro Horikoshi, and he dedicated it to Jiro himself, and also, oh God, I should have written down his name. He's a poet. He's a famous fucking poet. And he wrote the poem that the...
Nothing.
Okay. He wrote the poem that the movie takes
Homer.
its title for. Yes.
Homer, yeah.
Homie.
I think it was Robert Frost. It was. I think.
It was Rupi Kaur.
Homie.
Oh, how?
3 hours later.
Marinda. But yes, the wind is rising. The wind has risen, or the wind rises is the title. What?
Spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I guess you guys can go with your initial reactions.
I appreciate this movie more. Second watch. First time I watched it with Houston. I think
I
at
don't remember
college.
that at all.
We watched it because you made me watch it, and I was like, dude, I'm so pissed Houston's making me watch this shit. So I hated it.
You made me watch
I didn't
all of
hate
the
it,
Harry
it was
Potter
just
movies.
nice.
I'm kidding.
No, it's all good. I made you watch Lord of the Rings, so.
I mean, that was a damn good time. And The Wind Rises
Hell yeah,
wasn't
brother.
bad.
I know.
I just didn't.
I
love it
have
as much
blocked
as-
this one out entirely. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just have blocked it out
No, it's okay.
entirely.
Second watch, really good, great movie. My only qualm is I mentioned it briefly earlier. I think this is a Miyazaki just style. Whenever characters are flat, or sorry, it's not flat. Whenever they're just standing, there's nothing happening on screen. They're standing still. It looks kind of ugly.
They look
And
like
his
frogs.
characters are a bit like I don't know. It's just that's my only qualm with this movie.
I mean, is that
Like,
any different from other
No, it's not. It's not different. I would say Spirited Away
Yeah.
is probably the best it gets in terms of that.
Yeah,
But
like Ian had just said it looks like a frog, but like literally 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were like, "Hey, bro, you seen that bitch in Totoro, May? She looked like a goddamn frog." Like it's the
And-
Miyazaki special.
my biggest takeaway was that, like, my God, dude, Jiro wanted to be the dad from Totoro so bad. He wanted to be him so bad. Just being generally nice. Generally nice. He has
Wears
a
the same
pineapple
hat.
haircut. I mean, yeah, wears the same outfit.
They
Has,
both wear
you know,
glasses, dude.
loves his wife. Like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
If I was pissing,
Anyway.
that was pissing me off. How much
He had
was
the
loving his
gall
wife,
to
dude.
go get a sick wife.
I know.
I know, dude.
Ridiculous.
Dude, he's fucking mooching off of his supervisor just because the thought police are gonna arrest you. Get over yourself, dude.
Dude,
Go home.
some secret German police are after him, dude. They've never.
Come on, dude.
Honestly, you probably did something wrong.
Dude, how can you be afraid
Honestly.
of something that, like, that's not funny? Never mind. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the movie. It's a good time. And
Good.
again, my only qualm is like little instances where the animation looked a bit rough. But for the most part, it was solid.
I do want to ask. So,
I'm not going to say the joke that I was thinking.
no. Oh,
I wanted to ask, what was the joke you were thinking of?
no, dude.
Don't worry about it.
What I would say is like, or what I was gonna ask was, I know how you had felt it, and you said you liked it more this time than you did the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, to what extent? Because I know
I'm going to be honest here.
Yeah.
I'll be honest here, Houston. Not the whole movie.
No, it's fine.
Not the whole movie. I think certain parts were better than others. However, there were certain instances where I got the same elation that I do when I watch something like Mishima. So I will give you the benefit of the doubt here and say that it is a fantastic movie.
Vindication!
Gonna cry. They grow up so fast. No, I'm just kidding. No, okay. So I didn't expect that, honestly, and I was not fishing.
didn't
for
either.
that at all.
I really wanted to hate it.
Yeah, I know you did. I know you did. But I remember you talking about, I think, Totoro a couple weeks back and being like, yeah, I thought it was like mid the first time, which is I think how you truly felt about The Wind Rises. Like going back, it was just like damn good. Like, and I was like, I figured The Wind Rise would be somewhere in between that. But that makes me, dude. If you would have told me that earlier, I wouldn't have shit all over Steamboy. I was just doing it to get back.
It's okay. It's
It's
okay.
compensating.
I'm not.
No, I'm sorry. Oh, damn. No,
But anyways, yes,
I'm not going
that's-
to go back.
those are-
Sorry.
That's my
Ian.
thoughts. Ian.
I watched The Wind Rises. I watched The Wind Rises right before this.
I know.
I was coming in. I probably was a couple minutes. Like it went a couple minutes over after our recording.
Yes,
time.
you were late.
I think you were late too.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, you showed up at like 7:01 or some shit.
That's late.
Oh, I'm sorry your clock was wrong, but whatever.
But I thought it was
Big Ben. No.
I thought it was a really beautiful movie. I thought it was really well done. This may be a little like maybe turn some heads. I don't know how accurate this is, but it reminded me of like it reminded me of sort of like The Irishman for Miyazaki, where it felt like
Okay.
somebody so deep and so mastering of their craft, where it's sort of just it comes down to their mastery and just sort of just kind of what they want to do. You know what I mean? Like, this is just me. This is what I like. This is kind of my tone. This is the visuals that I like to display. It felt like nothing was. It wasn't flashy in the sense that it was like trying to be anything. It was just like sort of a calm, like, this is my piece, and I think it was done exceptionally well.
Yeah.
I haven't
And
seen The Irishman.
I mean, I think there's a lot of like Scorsese movies that just feel like just feel like you know the long talking parts of Scorsese movies that they
Yeah.
just feel like a Scorsese movie and they don't feel like
You're
they're
thinking about
going anywhere.
Tarantino, dude.
No. They don't feel like they're going many
Everyone
places,
sounds
but
like
they don't
Tarantino.
they don't feel like they want to go anywhere. They're just kind of just rolling along at that pace, and it's all done really well. It's all really enjoyable, but it doesn't feel like it's just like, you know, it's like look at
don't know,
me,
man.
look at
You
me. It's
seem-
just kind of either
Have you
way.
seen Gangs in New York?
I haven't
I would
seen
not say
Gangs.
that's not done well.
Well, that's
is it?
our old one, but either way,
Not really.
It's 2000.
that's a
I'm
long
sorry.
time
Continue.
ago.
Please keep.
But basically, I thought it was great. I enjoyed it a lot. It was very well done. It was masterfully done. I will say my only, or I guess one of my only qualms was when there were about 30 minutes left. It could have been because I was ready to do the podcast, but when there were
Yeah.
about 30 minutes left, I was kind of checking the time. I was
Damn.
kind of ready for it to be over. I was kind of like, okay, yeah, like I was still enjoying it, but I was like, I feel a little over milked, you know what I mean? I feel like my udders have been sort of like worn a little bare, like just a little bit, but just like I'm kind of like,
We'll chalk that up to you waiting on the podcast.
I felt
honestly.
no, I
Honestly,
felt the
honestly,
exact same way the first time I watched it. I remembered this movie being way longer and just dragging.
I literally said like last week, it's like a 3-hour movie. It's not. It's like 2 hours.
Yeah,
I do
don't know,
think it's 2 hours and 6 minutes. I think.
Yes.
I think the first half was stronger to me, though.
Okay.
for me.
I can see it. I'm not going to argue that.
But I think it was a good
But
movie.
we'll say it was just you being excited for the podcast.
No, we'll
Like,
say
checking
that it
out.
was because
We'll-
the last part was awful.
Ian,
and
I'm
we'll
hearing
say
you
that
say
it was just
Ian,
bad.
I'm hearing you say this.
I'm
and-
hearing. Yeah,
See, I see what you're saying.
I see.
and I hear
I
you.
think it was
I
bad.
understand. But that's dumb as fuck.
Oh, okay.
Can we just say? No.
I think
Sorry.
I'm right, but yeah, it was a good movie,
I've never been
and
wrong.
I was sort of, but I was ready. I was ready for it to end when it ended. I was sort of like, okay, good, all right, that was nice. It didn't affect my it didn't wane. It didn't defeat any of the previous enjoyment that I had. But when it was over, I was sort of ready for it to be over.
Let me ask you real quick before I talk. Did you like the ending? Just want to know, like, how did you feel about the ending, and you too as well, Jarrett? 'Cause-
I liked the ending,
Okay.
but I liked it just because of the way that it fit into the film. It wasn't like if it was a movie that was escalating all the way up until the end, I would have probably felt like it was a bit like, I was expecting more. But just given the fact that it was sort of at the same speed the whole time, the way that it ended seemed nice. It seemed sweet.
Yeah.
But it didn't. I didn't feel my strings being pulled all that much.
Okay.
It was
Yeah, that's
nice.
fair.
I enjoyed it.
Okay. What about you, Jarrett?
I agree that it's very in line with the rest of the movie in terms of pacing and vibe. Just kind of, it's not building up. It's not some grandiose ending. I do think it fits very well with just this whole movie we've been talking about. He's trying to achieve his dreams, and the Italian guy gives that 10-year time frame. And The Wind Rises essentially, like, we see his initial inspiration for becoming it, and then we get the 10-year snapshot of being an engineer, of creating and designing what he loves. And so I like that it stops there. We get a nice little nod to the fact that his wife died, and she's waiting for him. But
Yeah.
I appreciate that, keeping in line with, we don't need the sappy, we don't need the words across the screen that said Jiro went on to become a lecturer and do a university tour.
Jiro
I
died a drunk
appreciate-
alone in a gutter.
Yeah, I appreciate that it ended in the same way that the whole movie ran consistently, and that we are here because this guy has a dream and we want him to succeed in that dream, and we're here experiencing these problems with him, and we want him to master his craft. And he essentially does master his craft, and while he's somewhat upset about how it was used, it goes back to what the Italian guy said. It doesn't matter how it's used, it's about the care that you put into creating it. And I mentioned earlier, I love that thematic, and I wish it were explored more, just creation versus use, and how it reminded me very much. It was a lot more like what I was talking about with One Piece, and specifically that scene with the Italian guy talking about people are going to do whatever they're going to do. Like, planes are just, it's a doomed dream, because they're going to, it's dangerous and people are going to abuse it.
Yeah.
But you love it. You love designing it. You love it. It's passionate. And that's what you should focus on. And the movie is about that, and we end right where it needs to. He achieved his mastery, and this is the end of his.
Hell yeah.
It's the end of this telling of his story.
Yeah.
So I really liked it.
Cool. Okay.
What did you
Yeah.
think of the movie?
So I don't know if I can just do a normal initial reaction because I have seen this.
hated it, dude.
Yeah,
It was
this
so
movie
bad.
sucks. No,
After on my 10th watching, I realized all my other watchings were wrong, and it's
Yeah.
awful.
no, but this seriously was like my 10th or 12th or whatever, fucking umpteenth. I can't even count viewing of the movie. And I've watched it multiple times this year already. Like even before we started recording the podcast, like I had already just looking at the bracket. I just was, I'm gonna watch The Wind Rises again. So I fucking love this movie, and there's no need for me to come out and be like, well, so the movie was good. Like we know, I fucking loved it. So I did watch, and this might be a little blasphemous. And you guys can be like, no, shut up. But I did watch a documentary as well with this one, just for my own sake, on Miyazaki and like it was just the release of this movie pretty much. And so it was just some girl was like, or some woman was following him around, or I guess the whole studio around, Studio Ghibli, and like watching the creative process of like, this movie had already been announced, or it was about to be announced publicly, and then just the creation up until its premiere. And because it was his farewell, as well as in another movie we'll see down the line, Takahata's farewell was being released alongside The Wind Rises. And so, in typical Miyazaki fashion, the entire time he's like, why the fuck am I making this fucking movie? Obviously, he's like, ugh, I make movies for kids. Why am I doing this shit? Like, fuck this. A huge perfectionist, and like nothing is ever right, and he doesn't even know, like he had to be convinced to even do it. Doesn't even know if he wants to finish, and all this shit, and is just an absolute contradiction of a man, in every sense. And it was a really solid documentary. I found myself like super emotional, and I don't think I was supposed to. But there was this scene, and I think Lydia pointed this out really well. It was when they were there was at the end, they were recording some dialogue. He's sitting in the booth like listening to one of the actors record, and he's got an orange in his hand and a cigarette in his mouth, because he's known for like taking very good care of himself, even though he pretends like he doesn't. And so it was like this, and she was like, that's just so interesting, like he's such a contradiction of a person almost, to where he's got like a cigarette and an orange at the same time. Like he's like killing himself in one way, and he's like, it doesn't fucking matter, man. Like, and the other time he's like, he'll tell you it doesn't matter and you should just live life. But on the other time he's like taking care of himself because he wants to last as long as possible. And I think this sums up this movie really well. And Jarrett, you had said like cursed dreams, and that's a line that the Italian guy says and repeats a lot in the movie. Like, airplanes are cursed dreams, and yeah, you can take that as just airplanes. They're beautiful creations, but also they can be used for such fucking harm, like in World War II. And the real Jiro Horikoshi, which the book that you were referring to that was written in the 30s, was based off his diaries. And he had written during the war, after the war, like, this is fucking bullshit, pretty much.
Wait. The book was written in the 30s?
No, sorry, not the 30s. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? You said something was written in the 30s, but no, the book was written way after. There was no way the book could have been written in the 30s.
I'm sorry. There is a novel in the 30s. The fictional part of The Wind Rises is heavily inspired by the book from the 30s.
The book was the poet that he dedicated the movie to, right? It's like his time at a sanatorium. Is that right?
No. So that poem is a heavy inspiration on the book The Wind Has Risen by Hori Tatsuo from 37.
Okay.
It contains the verse that they say, and listen to this. The poem, which the protagonist recites to Setsuko when they meet under a tree while she's painting as a sudden strong gust of wind occurs. Character meditates life and death as he sees his beloved's condition deteriorating, finally moving on with her to the sanatorium.
Yes. Sorry, it was not. The poet did not actually move to the sanatorium, but he. Yeah. Sorry, I had those crossed there.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, I know, dude. Fuck me, dude. I'm the worst. But so
No, it's my connection. Sorry.
oh, sorry. You're like, fuck you, dude. You can't remember this book from the 30s. No, but Jiro Horikoshi, like, even in real life, was like, this is, looking back on this, I wonder what it was all for. Like, would I have even chased these dreams? And so that's the thing, is cursed dreams. And Jiro, the character, expresses, and it was the quote, it's actually a real quote from the guy, which was the inspiration of when Miyazaki was like, maybe I should write this movie, was I just want to create beautiful things. And so, and that's what Caproni tells him, like, these are cursed dreams. And I think that's what the whole movie is about. And it's these contradictions in a way. Like, yes, he wants to, even from the very beginning, we learn, like, yeah, he's a good person. He's a good little kid, and he'll stand up for anyone. But also, he's got this drive that no one else has, but the inability to reach things. So he wants to fly planes, but he's nearsighted. Right? And that follows him throughout. So he goes up and he wants to make planes. But to get a job making planes, he's got to go work for a manufacturer that sells planes, to the military. So he's got to just, bless you, Ian, make planes that he doesn't necessarily care about. And then when he works his way up, he gets to design the plane that he cares about. This vision the whole time, the fucking mackerel bones, which I love that little symbol throughout.
I like that too.
Chickens eat mackerel too.
Jiro, you've got
That was that line just is like so fun. But so he finally gets to design his vision, but like his vision is going to become the most deadly plane in the world. And then even when he finds his wife, this person from his past and everything that he met during the great, I think, Great Kanto earthquake, very, very famous. So he's got his like wife, and he wants to live out the rest of his days with her, but he also finally has his dream project. And he tries to do them both. You can't have them both. They're cursed dreams. You know what I mean? You can't create without the manipulation of your creation, and like you can't love without the death that comes with it. Like he marries somebody who's dying. He's the entire movie he pursues cursed dreams like the whole time. And so it was just fun to watch the production of this movie and Miyazaki being a typical Miyazaki, but also being the absolute contradiction that he is, and like following honestly cursed dreams in his own life. But I don't know, that might seem like way too abstract and in a roundabout way. I can't really explain it super well, but yeah, I fucking love this movie so much. I do think visually it is probably one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying about character models, Jarrett. I don't think that's...
It's just a couple times.
So
the rest of the movie is solid.
So here's the thing. He hand draws everything. It's super hard to work with him, apparently, but he's like super, like, fuck the 21st century. He says he's a man of the 20th. So he'll start storyboarding and come up with the script at the same time. And he hand draws everything, and then he goes over and checks everyone's work. And apparently, he had a lot of trouble with the Zero bomber. No one who tried to draw it was like, he's like, you're not drawing it right. You're not drawing it right. But he would not draw it himself. And it was like people were theorizing, like people work with him in this documentary were like, maybe it's reverence. Maybe he believes that he and when he was younger, could have drawn it or something like that. Or like maybe he just is like so sickened by the idea of this weapon of war, because he's a very, very anti-war, and the movie you can tell is pretty anti-war. So he's like, maybe it's just not, I don't know, it just was never the way that he wanted it to. So it's like every little piece about that, and he obsesses over like the way the airplane flies, not how it's necessarily shaped. And so like I think you can kind of see that as a character models. It's not really necessarily about what they look like at all times. He's very much, he wants them to bow correctly. So he gives this whole demonstration. He's like, hey, you guys have them like bowing and standing back up. He's like, in the 1940s, that was rude as shit. They're going to bow, and they're going to come back at an angle, and they're going to sit there for a second and talk, and then they're going to stand up. He's just like, when she turns to look at him, you guys are drawing like her eyes going to the side, and then she turns. It's like, yeah, that's normal for animation, but like you would never do that. It's like it makes the character rude in a way, or it makes the character like it gives them an emotion that they don't have. So he's very particular about the movement of things, and I think you can see that in the literal wind rising. I think he blends like the wind rising every time like something important is happening in Jiro's life, whether good or bad. It's just, when the wind rises, we must live, or the wind is rising. It's just change. It's just whatever his pursuits are, whatever these cursed dreams are. It's just the new. So you see, like when he, and I think that's pretty cool parallel when he first meets Noriko. I can't remember exactly how it's pronounced.
Aeronautical engineering.
Yes, aeronautical engineering. On the train, and aeronautical loses her, or he loses her hat. Aeronautical catch, like the wind gusts and takes his hat, right? And then like the next time he sees her, the later down the line, the umbrella, and he goes and he chases it and he brings it back to her. And so you see like the wind rises before she coughs, up.
It was
the
a
blood
triple parallel as well, because when he was throwing the paper airplane, her hat blew off and he caught it again.
Yep.
Or he caught it this time.
The wind rising is both it's not a positive or a negative force. It's just a force. Like it's just the force of, it's just the winds of change almost in a way. It is the force. And I love how, the landscapes
It's the power within.
You need to make that your background. You swore you were going to do it, but you never did.
Oh, that's what dude, I was trying to remember what I was. I
no.
do. I
Just
have
ask
something.
me. I fucking pour over these over and over and over again. I can tell
Please
you.
remind me next podcast
All
to
right.
make it
All
my
right, all right,
background. Please.
But the landscapes look great. The way that like the reality blends into his dreamscapes is really cool. Like as the camera transitions, it really feels natural in a way. Like in animation, like you can do anything, but sometimes it feels like you're taking advantage, to me at least, of like being able to do anything. Like we're going to go into this dream world now, and the transitions, they're not jarring, but they're not like smooth because they don't have to be. Like it's believable in animation that things can just shift out of nowhere. But I think especially with this movie, Miyazaki does a good job of just washing everything together. And I think that's shown in the thematic parallels, but also just in the way that scenes transition. I think this movie has some of the most beautiful transitions that I've seen in a long time. I guess rewatching this because I've seen it a billion times, but it's just not a lot of things shape up to it. So yeah, that's where I'll end my absolute filleting of this movie. I know that's probably the least fun this podcast has ever been. Me just being like,
No,
the wind rises.
bravo. Because I didn't have a lot to
This
say.
is supposed to
but
be
you
an
you've
analytical
moved
podcast.
me.
Is it? I thought we were supposed to just like hang out, and then
Yeah, we're talking about analytics.
Oh yeah. So in Moneyball, right?
How old was aeronautical engineering when he first met her?
So
I don't know.
1903, the first airplane was invented. The Great Kanto earthquake
Was 23, I think, 1923.
was it? I was about to look it up.
I was reading about it later, and yeah, it is the one that has
Dude.
the movie because it like
no. I'm
destroys
sorry.
Tokyo.
I'm sorry. Did you guys think I meant actual
Yeah.
aeronautical engineering? So I meant the girl that I.
Oh,
called
how old
aeronautical-
was she?
How
Yeah,
old
it
was
wasn't-
she?
Oh,
Yes,
oh.
not aeronautical engineering.
Oh, Houston,
No.
I thought you were just trying to put time.
Yeah, I thought you were trying to like. Okay, this was invented. Like airplanes were
Yeah.
here, and this was 20 years after that.
I mean, she could
Yeah,
have
that's what I was-
been younger. I mean, he was like what,
She's
16,
definitely
17?
younger, I think.
Yeah, he was going to college.
Yeah.
Um,
So but you also got to think again. This is 1920s. I
yeah,
mean,
1920. It was
even
1923.
the U.S. was still fairly behind in terms of age.
Here's
I
what
would
I'm thinking,
assume.
though.
I would
when
assume that
first-
she was probably. If she was like, I would say she was probably like 14, 13 or 14.
I thought
Probably
she was
something
like
like that, yeah.
12 or something, but
It
I
could
know
have
it's a
been.
big difference.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Well,
yeah.
here's the thing, though. They never engage in any kind of
Mhm.
actual affection until she's clearly an adult or at least close to one. So,
But
yes,
when he says that he fell in love
Yes.
with her,
he didn't say he fell in love
he
with her. He
said-
says he's
no, he
like,
says, "I've been in love with you since you caught my hat."
Again, give context to the
is,
time.
is that the
man.
exact
It wasn't.
phrasing?
It wasn't.
That's what he
viewed
says.
that-
I fell in love with you the second that I saw you. Yeah,
I fell in love with you the second you caught my hat.
the second the wind blew the hat off my head, something like that.
Yeah. I've
No, I
loved
think
you
I
ever
think he
since
said
the
it's the
wind
first
brought
time I
you to
saw
me.
you.
No, he says, I
Well,
loved
I mean,
you
it
ever
doesn't-
since
it
the
doesn't
wind brought
matter.
you to
I mean,
me.
No, that's what she says.
Oh, shit.
No, that's what she says in response to him.
Dude, that's what she
I loved you the
said?
second the wind blew the hat off my head. I loved you the second that the wind brought you to me.
Okay. Did you guys watch
Age
the
is
sub
just
or
a
the
number,
dub?
is all I'm trying to say.
ミャネかどうしたミャネ
The wind brought you to me. Age is just a number, is all I'm trying to say.
Sub.
Y'all watch the sub?
Sub, yeah, so.
Ian, so I'm going to play a clip. All right? Did you notice? Actually, I'm not going to do that. But do you know?
Play a clip. I'll watch.
No. So I don't know if you wouldn't be able to hear this.
The
But did you,
Bluetooth. It.
Yeah, just like pop it in like here.
did you look up the subcast?
No.
So how did you guys feel about Jiro in the sub? Like,
Solid.
you
He
thought it
was,
was solid?
I thought his voice got too deep too soon.
Too deep, too
but-
soon. Okay.
What?
Yeah,
Okay,
because it
so-
goes from him
no.
being a boy to like him being going to college, and he's like,
He went from
Hello.
like 6 years old to like 18.
I know, but
Yeah, he was a little older than 6. I'm not worried about that. I'm just talking about like him as an adult. Like, how did you think the voice acting was? Like,
It
is
was
it
a
what you
little-
expected from
a
the
li-
character? Was it good?
thought it
like,
was
what?
very
I
good.
thought it was rigid.
It was very good.
but I thought it was I didn't mind it.
Okay, so here's the interesting thing about this. And I didn't know this until pretty recently. But so they were struggling casting him. And Miyazaki hated everyone it come to. It's like they just all he felt like they were and one of you guys said rigid, right?
I said rigid. Yeah,
Rigid.
it's very.
So
yes.
you can see Jiro is very analytical, right? He's very rigid. He doesn't he can emote, but he's not going to express things like almost an emote. He's just very, I wouldn't say awkward, but he just comes to in a scene and he expresses what he feels like pretty plainly. And so they're like all these actors are just coming in here and they're emoting the way that they would, and I just don't think they're understanding this character. And so they're just like, well, who can we do? And some of the producers, she was like, like I see him as having kind of and she said some like negative things about his voice, being like, don't take this the wrong way, but I don't think he's the kind of like, he's not very masculine, blah, 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 all this shit. And one of them turns and was like, how about Ano? And they all start laughing like, no. And Miyazaki's like, actually, like the producer was like, what about Ano? He's like, that'd be funny, right? That could probably. It was fucking hilarious to watch this conversation because they were like, yeah, no way, right? I mean, yeah, like honestly, his voice is kind of weird, but yeah, no, we couldn't do it because he's not. Well, maybe a non-actor would be better. And would he even do it? Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's
Manu
the
Ginobili?
director. No, Ano.
Oh, of
Ano was his last-
Evangelion? That Ano?
The director of
Yeah.
Neon, the
Oh,
writer
you're talking
director
about that
of
Ano.
Neon
Okay.
Genesis Evangelion, and the end of it, they called him up because he's like friends with them, obviously, and so they're like, they have in this documentary they have the phone call of the producer being like, hey, this is not a joke, I'm being serious. Miyazaki like wants you for the lead, or he wants you to come audition for the lead character, right, of The Wind Rises. He goes to the audition, and Miyazaki's like, we'll fix the slurs and shit, like, because he's not a professional. He's like, but yeah, I got you.
The slurs.
So
He was
they-
just spitting out slurs the whole
They
time.
like slurring of his voice, like because he doesn't enunciate very well because he's not
easy
a
on the
voice actor.
Italians on it. Jeez,
Yeah.
Jesus.
But yeah, so I thought you would find that really interesting. Is like the
That's
voice
really
actor
interesting.
is a
I did not know
non-actor.
that.
He's a director, and he was just friends with. He's like, yeah, I'll do it.
I think his voice was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I've watched both the sub and dub multiple times, and I think the casting is just baller for both of them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it is so good. I encourage you guys to go watch the dub. I'm not gonna say it's better than the sub, but like it is just such a cool experience. It's one of the best dubbed things I've ever seen. What's up?
No.
No.
Yeah. No, it's like Joseph
So-
Gordon-Levitt, Emily Blunt, John Krasinski, fucking Werner Herzog.
Oh,
He's in this shit?
the pig from Muppets.
Hey, there's
Yes.
another director.
No, so I was so mad because I watched. So I have the fucking. It's somewhere over here. Oh no, I left it over there. I have a DVD copy of this movie, which it sucks. The only bonus feature is this like behind the mic, like docu interview with like the English cast, pretty much, which ridiculous, but whatever. And I was waiting the whole time because William H. Macy's in it, all this shit.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so then, like, finally, William H. Macy played Neon Genesis's dad, Aeronautical's dad. But yeah, so Werner Herzog is the German dude that he meets when he's at their hotel. And I was like waiting for Werner Herzog to pop up, and he never did. But honestly, if you don't want to go watch the whole dub, just go skip to that part of the movie and watch. Just turn the dub on so you can see Werner Herzog. Like,
Japan will blow up.
fall. Fucking
Germany
awesome.
will blow
I
up.
love that. Was a horrible Werner Herzog. He
kinda
usually do a
looks
good
like
one, but I'm
Werner
pressured.
Herzog.
He does.
Dude, his
doesn't
eyes were
Gray.
like awesome.
I was wondering is that a German thing? Do Germans have gray eyes?
I
Why
don't
did they
think
make them
so.
so gray?
That was
I
actually.
just thought
Oh, sorry, Cart. Go ahead.
it wasn't even the color; they just looked cool.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely sort of
They
like
did look very
just
cool.
They were like a
all
kaleidoscope.
the time in the camera.
When I
Not the
first,
camera,
the
but-
first time I watched this movie, I was like, "What the? Is this like a bad guy? Is this like a magical guy? Like, what is? Are we about to explode into the spirit world or some shit? Because like, that dude was just so fucking captivating to me, and listening to Werner like, pretty much like voice him is just another level. I still love the sub though, and I do think it was perfect choice to go with a non-actor and to go with Ano.
I have a
Pretty much.
question
Mhm.
that may be. I don't know if this is offensive or if it's on point.
It's offensive.
It's
'Cause you
probably
asked it.
offensive. Is he supposed to be like a Jewish rebellion fighter?
The German guy?
The German guy. Is he? Because I mean, there's a certain characteristic of his that is.
I'm gonna
little
maintain
blown
that is an
up.
offensive. that is
They
an
didn't have to
offensive
make
question.
him look like that.
Here's the thing: he was older. If you go look at like Ubaba or Sophie,
Yes,
like the
that's
older
true.
version,
He's
Big
not that
noses.
old though.
1,000 years old.
He's not. He's not a witch.
but he's grayed. Like he's gray, therefore he's gonna have the larger, more protruding. I don't know. I do not think he was supposed to be Jewish whatsoever.
Because I
and
mean,
think-
that's sort of like his thing is like that they're doing bad things.
Come on, no, he was just.
Oh man,
He
I've
was
held
just some.
myself
yes,
back on
yeah,
some
that was.
banger jokes. Man. Damn it.
You're talking about like in this
No.
instance, or are you saying
mean,
like you've
I'm
held
saying
wait,
this
hold
whole
on.
podcast. I had a banging joke earlier.
I know.
Yeah, I
you
was about to say,
remember.
are you lamenting
Tell
the fact
us.
that you've had some great jokes, but you've held back for like political correctness sake, and then Ian over here is being like, "Hey, did the big nose person be
Hey,
Jewish?"
I think in the context of the film, he could have been that. If they had added that in, it wouldn't have made a difference. I think he could have been that. And then
no, he
secondly,
was
they
he was a
highlight-
German citizen that had betrayed the German nation by like deserting because he was like Hitler is foolish. The Germans are.
I want to get off
foolish.
this
That all
topic because
sounds
I really want to make this joke and I don't
Come
want
on,
to.
come on.
All right,
Make
we
the
can
joke.
hang on.
Make
We
the
can take
joke.
like 3 seconds of silence just in case it's like awful, so I can just cut it out. Yeah, no, that is not fucking staying in.
Thank
Ian's
you.
question
I'm
was
sorry.
borderline. That is
I'm
just.
sorry. I'm sorry. I had it. It came in and I was like, I can't say it. I held back twice already this podcast,
Damn.
but this one was too good.
What were
the,
the,
fir-
really
very
quickly,
first
while
one?
we're already paused, what were the other jokes that you held back on earlier? Do you remember? When you were like, it's not
One
funny.
of them just wasn't. One of them. That one actually wasn't funny and was just
Dude, I cut
Really?
out the Woody Allen joke from last week.
probably a good move.
But
Probably a
then,
good move, yeah.
like it comes in. I was like, I didn't cut it because it's offensive. I cut it because it sucks.
yeah, it did.
All right. So
All right.
you want to lose back in, Jared?
I would. So
Ian, sorry,
I
sorry,
wanna-
sorry, Ian. What are you fucking doing?
I'm trying to put the mic in front of Macaulay's face. Sorry. Continue.
no, now that you're trying to do it, it can't be achieved.
Macaulay will not allow it. Sorry. All right, Jarrett. I'm just gonna ignore whatever the fuck Ian's doing. Jarrett, lead us back.
All
in.
right. So, I want to go back to
Mhm.
Houston. I can't remember the context, even though it was only like less than 10 minutes ago.
It's fine.
you briefly mentioned the affection between Jiro and Aeronautical, and
I'm gonna look up her name. I can't keep doing this. Sorry, keep going.
So in general, I don't typically watch romance movies.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know. Nothing against them, just not usually my go-to.
Yeah, you're insecure in your masculinity. I got you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are a few movies I can think where the romance, because like when I think of romance in movie, it's usually like, oh, this is nice and sweet, but it seems relatively superficial. Like it's never believable enough that like, oh, these characters are actually in love. These characters are actually
Boy and the Beast.
a thing. But there are a couple examples, and I'm not talking about the movie as a whole. I'm just talking about the romance.
Yeah.
But like Eternal Sunshine is an example where I think the romance is just fantastic, and I really feel that these characters.
You tell me you're not
care
talking
for
about
each
the
other.
movie as a whole? That whole movie's
Well,
fantastic.
I love the movie, but
Okay,
I know
cool.
a lot. I've seen a lot of discourse that like it's not that great.
It's who? Who the fuck says that?
Compared to Kaufman movies, it's in the weaker.
Really? I see
But
it as
whatever.
like understood as one of his probably his best, his masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
But I mean,
It
I
is
wouldn't.
great.
I don't know if I agree or anything, but like, sorry. I'm not trying to challenge you or anything like
No,
that.
you're
I'm just
good.
saying,
I
like,
am. I'm good.
I see nothing but praise for that movie. Sorry, but yes, I get what you're saying.
I don't mean that to say it's like shat on.
No.
but
I
it's
know.
like-
I know. Sorry, I get what you're saying. I don't
Uh,
know why I decided to derail that, but yeah, keep going. My bad.
But Eternal Sunshine, A Woman Under the Influence. I've always wanted to watch. What's that? Is it? I think it's Chinese. Breaking the Waves.
Ooh,
Is that
no.
what it's called?
That is
No?
not Chinese. That's a Lars von Trier
Is it
film,
not?
dog.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's great
I
though.
thought-
It is great. Breaking the
Okay.
Waves is heartbreaking. Fantastic.
But from what I've heard, the love in that movie is
Yeah.
portrayed
I-
incredibly.
Why am I trying to Chinese movie?
Am
You
I
might be
incorrect?
thinking
I thought it was called Breaking the Waves, but it was a gay Chinese couple.
Happy Together.
And they-
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Happy
Wong Kar
Together,
Wong
that's
Kar
it.
Wai. Yeah, I was about to ask either In the Mood for Love or Happy Together. Happy Together? So you've seen Happy Together?
I've wanted to, but I know of it.
Oh, dude, I have I got the box set, the Wong Kar Wai box set that just came out last year. Come over. We can watch Happy Together.
You guys are watching gay
Hell
movies
yeah.
without me?
Dude, come watch. Dude, have you ever seen Happy Together, Ian?
I have never seen Happy Together.
Oh my fucking god, dude! Like, I'd be floored if you don't love it. Not just because it's gay. Like, it's a fantastic movie, but like, I do think it would appeal to like your taste in films,
Okay.
whether it was straight or gay or not. Like, I
I'll have to
don't think
check
I've
it
ever
out.
recommended you like a gay film.
There's not that many.
Well, there. Okay, comparatively, you're correct. There are not that many, but there are some good ass ones out there. There's some. I mean,
I haven't-
Happy Together.
Happy Together. Haven't
Happy-
seen it. I think
You
I've heard of it throughout just like seeing like screenshots or something, but I
Were you about to
wasn't-
say osmosis?
Yeah, I was, but that wasn't the right word.
But
Sorry.
I bring
keep
those
doing this.
up to say, live action wise, there are movies I could point to where the romance transcends superficiality, and I feel immersed in their relationship, not in the way of a spectator where like maybe these are my friends and they're together, they're happy, but I feel, I don't want to say projecting onto that, but I feel the love in the air, and it just resonates with me, it shoots through me, and I can't think of any animated or anime instances of that happening. Again, I don't watch that much shoujo or romance
Yeah. that's
anime, but my god, the
Yeah.
scenes with Jiro
Yeah.
and Aeronautical are just
Naoko. Her name is Naoko.
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 The way Miyazaki was able to portray just unrefuted love was just incredible.
Unrefuted. That's a
No
low
one
bar.
would refuse.
I know it was the wrong word. I couldn't think of
No,
it.
actually,
Requited love.
well, no, you would. It's not
Acquainted.
unrequited because
I
that
said
would mean-
requited.
oh, sorry. Perfectly
Which
requited
is a
love.
low bar.
Pure. It's too late. My vocabulary shit. and I'm
unabashed,
I'm compensating.
unashamed,
Compensating.
just
exactly.
straight
Pure,
fucking
pure,
love.
Pure.
Yeah.
Pure. Yes.
Mhm.
Just the scenes of them just interacting. He'd come home from work and she's just so happy to see him, and I feel that happiness, and they're just working together and just propping each other up, and they both care too much to let the other one. It is fantastic.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
love. Again, I and maybe that's why I don't watch that many romance movies, is because I almost feel a sense of superficiality with said romances. But when they hit, it's just fantastic.
They hit.
And I think The Wind Rises is up there with The Eternal Sun Shines.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's God, I loved it.
I would say there's an element of tragedy to this romance, at least. Like,
There is. Yeah, no, I agree.
Jiro is a little bit of and that comes in with that cursed dream and stuff. He is a little. I don't want to say neglectful, because like that's not.
Yes.
That's not.
Well, that's another
too bad of a
contradiction right
connotation.
there.
Yes.
That's a contradiction right there. He wants to be with his wife, but he doesn't want to give up his job.
Yes.
So.
He's finally gotten to be able to create his dream, but also, and so that's why, like, she leaves at the end. It's like, I want you to remember me the way that I was. And like, when she leaves, the wind rises, the plane hits top speed, and he doesn't even fucking look. He turns and he just looks over the horizon as he feels the wind rise. And he's like, what? And it doesn't feel good, His plane, he finally created it. And you could be like, he doesn't feel good because, like, this will kill millions of people. Or is he doesn't feel good because he knows, like, the wind is rising and change is coming, and, like, this is the peak of that 10 years. And, like, nothing can last past that. And so, yeah, his planes can't, but also, what's up?
When like you're talking about when the plane finally, like, is successful and he looks off into the distance.
Yes. He doesn't even watch it.
I was under the impression that he was sort of getting a sort of a vibe that his wife was dying. Like,
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you could be like, well, maybe he's like looking away but it's like you can tell it's concern, and he's like, the wind is rising and like something is being carried away. He can't even celebrate in the joy of what's going on. But yeah, so I do agree, and I think just to expand upon that just a little bit is, I think there are some films that just get like the reality so well, and I think you pointed out A Woman Under the Influence, like that one. That is not the most lovey-dovey movie of all time. Like, fucking, like, they go through some shit in that movie.
Yeah,
like,
I should have explained a bit better.
No.
Not necessarily like lovey-dovey.
I know what you I know what you mean. So I'm saying, like, that one kind of embodies like the reality of like love as a choice, kind of, in a way, just like pushing through things together.
Hard.
Yes, yeah, and stuff.
Love hurts.
Stop. But yeah, so there's that one, and then there's like The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and that's like that's more of like the understanding the emotions of each other, because it is a little bit more of a tragedy, and that's more for Joel as a character to be like, you know what, like I'm not going to bury my emotions like a man per se. Like, I was wrong. I need to stop these. I want to feel these things. I want to remember these things. And so that's like the pain of love and like just the pure emotion. And then you mentioned Happy Together, which is fucking happy together. You know what I mean? Like, there's conflict in the movie, obviously, but it's just like such a good fucking romance. And I think The Wind Rises, I wouldn't say is like top tier in any one specific category like that, but I think it's got that tragic element, and it's got those just pure fucking just raw emotions, but it also has that like happiness and just like true love, just like witnessing something like so awesome and pure happen, and just being like, hell yeah. Like, I don't know, hell yeah is probably not the right reaction. But it's,
I mean, I literally said hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Get those
Hell
planes,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah, hold her hand while you work, bro.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, girl. Leave him for the sanatorium so he only remembers you this way. Yeah, fuck yeah. But yes, I see what you're saying, and I'm not saying it's like the best depiction of any one thing, but I think it just, in such a short time with
Yeah,
these
'cause-
fragmented.
relative to how many scenes they actually had together, the emotions that were they were able to condense in those were great.
And I think it's where Miyazaki excels, and it's also kind of his downfall. We talk about him meandering, or him just like, let's just like fucking sit here, or having things be underdeveloped. But even then, it's never the big moments. Like, even their wedding is the smallest moment ever. He doesn't make movies
scene.
about the big things in life that can be hyper realized. You see them walking together in the rain, like, and that gives you more than any kind of like montage, playing with the paper airplane and shit, holding hands like while he works. And it's the tiny little things about life and about love and about just relationships with people. And I think, yeah, Miyazaki can kind of get caught up with himself, and yeah, he can contradict himself a lot, and yeah, maybe his character models look a little like frogs. But god damn it, like, he knows just how to make everything magic. And I do want to round it out with, and y'all can keep going after this. I'm not saying like this has to be the end, but I remember, and I'm going to call you out a little bit here, Jarrett, but when we would talk about, up until now, The Wind Rises, and you'd just be like, it's just not magical. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, that's what I want from a Miyazaki. And that's absolutely fair. And I would always be like, no, dude, it's his most magical film. Yeah, I think we were both being like one end of the spectrum just to argue. But I think the magic is not the places. I mean, yeah, it is sometimes in Spirited Away and stuff. The places or the characters or the cool creatures that he creates, but it's just these like grounding emotions that are so real but also hyper realized, and they're just so pure and they're so raw at the same time. Like, I don't know, he's a contradiction of a man. He's a cigarette and an orange, and I think that's where he creates the best. And I think this movie being about these cursed dreams and about these contradictions, and honestly, like, I mean, God, it's a fucking, you know, like, hero's biography about the man who's responsible indirectly for some of the biggest tragedies, you know, in one of the greatest wars of all time. Like, it's a romance that was doomed to fail from the fucking beginning. Like, it's all a cursed dream, but it's so goddamn beautiful. It's still one of my favorite movies of all time, and you can probably tell by the way that I am absolutely licking its taint. But but yeah,
I can agree to that.
That's where I'll end my shit. If you guys have more you want to say, that's fine. If not, we can wrap
Go
up.
watch The Wind Rises.
Go watch. Please, God, go watch.
It speaks for itself.
It's on HBO Max, I think, if anyone wants to stream it. But yeah,
I was going to say something about the title. Is it just, I mean, it probably is just me, but it's a two-part question. Is it just me that you guys, obviously it's not Houston because you've seen it a bunch of times, but did you think that the movie was called The Wind Also Rises? No. And if not, is that a different thing I'm thinking
Ernest Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises.
Okay.
So it's a very famous book.
Yes. It's
a good book.
Okay. I thought the movie was called The Wind Also Rises until I saw that it wasn't called that, and I was like, huh. Okay.
Dude, I get
rookie moves, man.
Rookie mistake.
That's what you get for not reading Fitzgerald.
An absolute troglodyte, dude.
I think these movies.
Yeah. Sorry.
Common engineering. I'm the one who derailed it. It's okay.
No. It's good.
Like
we should vote and shit. But anyway, I didn't like Steamboy. I love The Wind Rises. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think I've backed up clearly why it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think you guys probably wouldn't put it up there, but you agree at least. It's just one of the most beautiful movies that we've seen on this list thus far. I'd assume you agree with that, right?
I thought you were going to make a drastic drop there, but it went from greatest movie of all time to one of the most beautiful movies of all time.
No, but it's one of the most beautiful movies we've seen on this bracket thus far, right? That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
No, I think Dallas was a lot prettier.
Okay, that's fine.
And Angel's Egg.
I mean, Angel's Egg was great.
I love Angel's Egg. At the beginning of Steamboy, I wrote Angel's Egg because there were multiple times throughout Steamboy where I was like, is this movie really trying to be Angel's Egg that bad?
Dude,
like the giant
he'll never be as good as
mechanism,
Oshi,
the
bro.
steam.
Otomo will never touch Oshi, bro. But anyway.
Well, he already beat him once.
No.
Ooh, yes, he did.
I have
He's
no
gonna
idea.
cut this out.
I have
Ian.
no
He's
idea
gonna
what you
do
guys
it
are talking
again.
about.
Ooh, that movie fucking sucks.
You know what? Okay, I'm just
What are you
gonna stop.
voting for?
I'm not even going to go on to why I like The Wind Rises better. I think it speaks for itself, and I think I spoke for it. I love The Wind Rises. I'm going to vote for The Wind Rises. Who wants to go next?
I got you.
Okay.
I enjoyed Steamboy quite
Yeah.
a bit. It has many flaws, but it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. Good watch. I'd watch it again. The Wind Rises, I would also watch again. It's a great movie. Gorgeous, in fact. And for that reason, I'm going to vote Steam Rises.
Come on, dude. You actually have to vote.
Sorry. I
you
will vote for, despite my theory that Houston was going to gaslight Steamboy.
Dude,
just so
I
we
really
vote
was
for
not.
The Wind Rises.
I really
know,
was
I know.
not. I
You
swear to
didn't, I
God,
know.
I wanted to change the movie just to find something better. Like, that's how much I hated Steamboy.
Oh my gosh.
I hated it.
Gosh.
Like, you will not get me to watch that movie again. Even if it moves on to the bracket, I will not touch it ever again. I will
Wait,
never.
actually, Ian, you don't like being the deciding vote, right?
Yeah.
I don't. I like whatever you like, Jarrett. What do you want to do? You want
I
me to
think he
vote
didn't like
first?
I
being
know
the
what I'm
deciding
voting.
vote when he was torn between two movies, but I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong. He might be torn on this one.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm not
Ian, you
torn.
go first. You go first.
Yeah,
Oh my
Steamboy wins. Easy. No, I'm kidding. Wind Rises was very, very, very good. Hearing Houston speak makes me want to watch it again because I feel like there's more to dig out of it than
Thanks,
I really
boys.
did. You spoke well, and like everything you said, you're like, dang. I was like, dang, you're kind of right. I didn't really see that, but I think you're kind of right, and I think seeing it again would be better. Maybe a few more times over the course of my life.
It does
I
grow
think
on
it
you.
was really great.
In 10 years.
Steamboy was really fun. And like if I think about like the level of enjoyment that I had, they're probably maybe relatively close. But if I think about like which is a better movie, it's not close at all. I mean, I think The Wind Rises definitely wins in that argument.
All right.
Yeah.
Jarrett?
I concur.
Okay.
You
so yeah,
concur?
that's
That's what you
Were
waited
you
for?
were you waiting? Or were you hoping he would choose Steamboy so you could like fucking
Yes,
bait me
yes,
with
I
it?
was.
That's what I was assuming. I thought you like got to the point to where you actually had to vote, and you're like, shit, I'm gonna vote for The Wind Rises. I'm gonna see if Ian will vote for Steamboy, so I could be like, Wind Rises. Yeah.
No, I don't like when the two of us vote the same movie because then it's like, why are we even listening to the third guy?
Yeah.
That's a
well,
good
they,
point.
they get to voice their opinion.
Oh yeah, it's Ian though.
I know. See, that's why I always go
No, like,
last.
there's-
Well, that's why I always go last because like people care about what I want to say.
Because you're
and,
the
like,
least interesting.
That's true.
no,
That's true.
No, I go last. I go last because like
Oh my
my opinion matters, and Ian goes first because like it really doesn't matter what he thinks. Honestly,
That's true. It always gets cut in.
looks like unanimously it's a sweep. The greatest movie of all time. I mean, The Wind Rises is moving
Yes,
on.
I'm glad you corrected yourself.
Is moving on. So yeah, that's gonna be it. For today's episode. This one, this was, God, damn.
Long as fuck.
long as I'm
Lots of bonus. Lots of bonus.
Yeah, if I could fucking be able to finish these in a reasonable amount of time, but I usually can't. I'm usually scrambling, so I'm gonna have, dude. We're gonna skip a week one time, like later, and I'm gonna have just a backlog of bonus content that I'll just get fucking dumped. It's gonna be incredible. But anyway, thank you guys. You people that I can't see, don't know if are there, and don't really know me, at all. Even if you think you do.
No one knows.
This is parasocial. Come on. I'm only letting you see a part of myself and a part of my life. It's
did my time, and I want out.
parasocial.
Let the
Yeah.
bodies hit the floor.
Ian,
All
this is why we
That's
don't.
the-
This is why you don't talk that much.
God,
that's the problem.
Okay, let me finish and we can clown Ian. I just gotta get to the end of it. Holy shit. Thank you guys for watching. If you're listening, thanks for listening as well. But if not, you should really watch because we put a lot of memes and shit in here that I leave off in the audio. And I'm not talking just pictures. Like we got like videos and audio clips and shit that I leave off. So it's really cool to. I'm not saying you have to. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You're a grown ass American, so do whatever the fuck you want. But anyway, thanks for the last time. Jesus Christ. Windrise is moving on. If you want to see any of our previous episodes that aren't this discombobulated, they are up on YouTube and Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud as well. If you want to follow along, you can download the bracket. There will be a link. Jarrett?
In the description.
There you go. He likes to say that if you're new here. If this is the first episode you ever watched of ours...
We like to have fun here.
We like to have... I'm kind of the Hawkeye of the... Yeah, okay. But yeah, if this is the first episode you ever watched of ours, thanks for fucking sticking through it. Jesus Christ. You're a goddamn trooper, all right? We need more like you.
Super.
Gold.
Okay, meow. Okay, that meow, that's enough. But anyway, appreciate it. Call to action. This thing, the sub thing, the fucking interact with it, to give we want views and money. And yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching. We have been Spaghetti and the Meat Boys. Y'all know what to say at this point.
You
Bonjour.
are Steamboy.
No, we can't end on that.
Okay,
Ian,
sorry.
bring it around again.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Hair.
Call me Peen to the een. I got lovin' in my jeans. Gordita to the crunch. I got Bell on my jeans. I eat lots of